And if you want these kind of dreams, it's Californication. It's the edge of the world in all of Western civilization. The sun may rise in the east, at least it's settled in a final location. It's understood that Hollywood sells Californication. Very own constellation. A teenage bride with a baby inside, getting high on information. And buy me a star on a boulevard, it's Californication. Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. In Cobain, can you hear the sphere singing songs off station to station? And Alderon's not far away, it's Californication. Born and raised by those that praise control of population. Everybody's been there and I don't need no vacation. Firstborn unicorn, hardcore softcore. Dream of Californication. Dream of Californication. Dream of Californication. Dream of Californication.
I believe that this nation should...
Destruction leads to a very rough road, but it also breeds creation. An earthquake's out to a girl's guitar, that's just another good vibration. And tidal waves couldn't save the world from Californication.
All right, boys and girls, we are off and running like a herd of turtles to the conspiracy night. Playing in the background, Californication, the song that told us the future before we even knew it. Moon Landing, 100% fake or real. We'll find out tonight. We have our good old Moon Landing deniers here to explain to us what we don't understand about the truth about the Moon Landing. started here, boys and girls. We are got our technicals in order. Get your cups ready for the Paracosmic Sip so that we can partake in the world-famous Paracosmic Sip. Woo! Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Red Hot Chili Peppers, Californication coming in. Welcome to Conspiracy Thursdays. Woo! And you said Joshua's in the chat. He comes from Instagram. He's an old friend of mine. Been hanging out for quite some time. I did a magic show for him at one of his parties, actually, at his house. And so, welcome, Joshua. So, we have been informed. Just as everyone knows, we've got some new people here. What we do on Conspiracy Thursdays is we're demonstrating the effectiveness of sophistry and rhetoric. So this is essentially a full live stream episode of a magic trick. And so the goal here is I am going to utilize all the persuasion trickery that I have in my magic toolbox to make something absolutely absurd seem as though it is very convincing and real. It's important to realize at the beginning of this is a magic trick. In the same way that you see a magician make an elephant disappear, he's not actually making the elephant disappear. We all know that. But boy, howdy, when we look at it, we're like, yep, that definitely did happen, right? That's what we're going to attempt to do here tonight with the moon landing. So that is what we're on board with here, and we're going to get started on that. But first, we got to get the Paracosmic Sip going here. Speaking of which, could you just dump this out and fill it up again? Because it's filled with fruit flies. The Paracosmic Sip is a fruit fly haven right now. We've got about 7,000 fruit flies in this cup. He stole it from outer space. I did steal the moon from outer space. That is a fact. And what is the Paracosmic Sip? Well, we'll get this set up here for you guys. Go ahead and grab a cup, any beverage that you want. It can be any container with any liquid to participate in the Paracosmic Sip. We're going to get the music of relaxation going here and look into the owl of peace and tranquility. Now, grab your beverage and leave it sitting down because you're going to need it in just a bit, but not yet. For example, I will be using this owl mug right here. Perfect timing, OPVs. And we're going to get rid of our negative stress for the day. So go ahead and just hold your hands like this in between your hands and imagine a glowing ball of energy floating in between your hands. I know that sounds weird, but just use your imagination and see what happens. As you imagine a glowing ball, you'll start to feel a force in between your hands. And now imagine your stress, anxiety, anything holding you down as a glowing energy in you. And have that energy be a color. Now have that color flow throughout your whole body, into your shoulders, into your arms, up into your hands, and have it fill up the ball. You'll actually feel that ball get a little bit heavier now. As it gets closer and closer to the top, you'll feel it fill up all the way. And now you can let that energy go and you'll feel this nice release of stress. Now that's the first step, and that's amazing, but that energy will come right back unless we take the next step. We got to replace that energy with something else or it'll come right back. That's where the Paracosmic Sip comes in. So go ahead and grab your beverage, hold one hand over the beverage, and imagine a glowing energy in your cup. But this time, imagine the energy you do want, and the color of that energy representing the energy you need. Maybe it's relaxation, maybe it's energy, whatever you need. Have that start glowing in the bottom of your cup with your imagination. And we're going to count down from 3, 2, 1. You'll feel a tingle on your hand. That's how you know it's charged. And now you are ready for the Paracosmic Sip. The sensation sweeping the nation. We have people in California, Montana, Oregon, Washington, Florida, Australia, Ireland, South Carolina, North Carolina, South Dakota, North Dakota, Louisiana, Texas, Africa, and Ireland, Massachusetts, and so much more. And if you didn't hear yours, let us know in the chat, and we will try to continue to add it to the list. And they're all about to partake in the Paracosmic Sip right here, right now, in 3, 2, 1. And that's going to get you the exact energy you need, my friends, and that is the world-famous paracosmic sip. Let us know in the comments below what happened when you had the paracosmic sip. Did you suddenly acquire over $1 trillion in net assets? Are you now able to fly through time itself? Let us know what has happened for you, and welcome to the show, my friends. How are we doing today?
Fantastic. Booyah Owl says he is excited for this one.
Oh, I am stoked for this one too. This is gonna be a fun one. By the way, if you guys have any friends that are in on to the moon conspiracy stuff, please bring them in tonight. I would love to see some Moonies in the chat. I think that's what we're calling them. We're calling them Moonies, and then hopefully by the end of this, we too can all become Moonies. That would be really fun and entertaining. And again, just as a reiteration, we're having fun. We're making something ridiculous seem like it's real. We don't know either way. And that's a big process that we teach here is the Socratic approach to life is we don't know. We don't trust the scientist and we don't trust the Moonies. We just listen to the compelling evidence that's predictive. Now, how does the moon landing affect our lives? It doesn't. It's an irrelevant piece of information. Whether or not it's real has no impact on your actual life. So, we don't care. We don't care. So we're going to have fun. And I mean, honestly, are we going to pass up an opportunity to upset boomers? That nothing gets more to a bad boomer than talking about the moon landing being fake. They eat this stuff up. They hate it. It makes them infuriated. It's a whole thing. Now, the good boomers don't react that way. And I find this to be a good test of whether or not this is a good boomer or a bad boomer. So, let's get into the weekly weird, shall we? So many eggs! We've been putting out egg videos. We are the news this day because we are so behind on egg videos. I have constructed many an egg video. I've actually put together 2 entire egg videos for you guys here. We're going to watch one now and perhaps one later during the show. Let's take a look. We have a choice to make here. OPVs. Yes. Should we do how to fry an egg that will make Joshua Weissman admit, what's the headline here? Hold on. Will admit defeat. That'll make Joshua Weissman admit defeat. Or are we going to watch the video of a clearly superior omelet recipe to that of Joshua Weissman's? Fried egg it is. All right, boys and girls, we're going to take a look at the fried egg video here. This is part of our Build, Grow, and Create. We do one of these every month where we take a random skill and try to get significantly better at it. This month, we're learning how to cook eggs, and we have been way behind on these videos, so we taught you guys how to boil eggs, and then that's about it. So we're going to catch up with the pan frying and the baking and the egg alcohol in a big old sprint between now and tomorrow.
We have a Freemason in chat.
Ooh, Freemasons in chat. So just a standard guys club. It's just a drinking club. There's nothing really that special or spooky about it. Overhyped thing. It'd be like saying, I'm part of a beer club or a golf club. Yeah. We know. It's not no freaking out about quote-unquote Freemasons, okay? They are normal people. It's just a gentleman's club. There's nothing more to it. And they're actually pretty nice. They'll build like water fountains for people. They're cool. Kind of like the Boy Scouts, but for adults. So let's learn how to fry an egg, shall we? And this is what we want. What I'm trying to put together here, guys, is first off, I'm practicing my skill sets in learning how to be a better actor who is pretending to not be acting. I'm trying to come off as a no, I genuinely believe these things, even though what I'm doing is playing a character. So I'm trying to develop that skill set for these ARGs that we're going to be doing in the future here. And one of the ones that I thought would be fun to strap together is if we cut this together, put it as a compilation that's like Home Chef breaks down over Joshua Weissman, and then we get that into one of his Facebook groups or his Reddit forums, and it will document me becoming infuriated with Joshua Weissman and then slowly starting to like Joshua Weissman, and then finally ending with becoming a Joshua Weissman fanboy. That's the character. Fam, literally, what I want to do, I don't know if we have the ability to do this, but what I want to do is do a shot-for-shot remake of his video style. So opening the closet door, having the camera inside, having his B-roll footage at the end, having his jokes, calling it whiskey business, just an entire direct parody of him. I think it would be really fun.
Right, so now we are going to move on to the skill-based frying technique. Now, I'm sure you're probably familiar with some Gordon Ramsay video above me or Josh Weissman video below me where they're telling you about how cool and amazing they are, but trust me, we're going to teach you how to make the best eggs here, and you're not going to have to be some fancy guy. You don't have to go lose 100 pounds. You don't have to be a legend. You just need some eggs, okay? That's all.
These are all direct references to what Joshua Weissman does. So Joshua Weissman's whole thing is he lost 100 pounds. He's launched a cookbook, and he did it by cooking, and so he's notorious for having these incredibly difficult, complex recipes on YouTube.
All some butter and salt and pepper and some stuff. We'll get into it. Let's go. All right, get yourself a cast iron.
Oh, and I almost forgot. Of course, guys, let's break the algorithm here and get this video a starter thumbs up. And if you are enjoying this, head on over to How to Fry an Egg that will make Joshua Weissman admit defeat from Tyler Sass, uploaded today. Give it the starter thumbs up, give it a starter comment, and click play. Turn it on silent so we get a full playthrough. That's how you break the algorithm around these parts, boys and girls.
If you have anything other than a cast iron, you're a bad person. No, and you could have frying pan too. But that's beside the point.
If you have anything other than a cast iron, you're a bad person. And then I tell them to also get a frying pan.
Let's get some herbs up in here. And I just picked some thyme because I grow my own. It makes me better than other people. And we got some chives on here because they're green. That's the entire reason. Now, if you may remember from our How to Make Ketchup video, how do we make things delicious? You get a protein. That's going to be our eggs.
Watch me struggle desperately with these eggs.
Here, protein. And then you gotta go and get...
Trying so hard to get that egg out.
Some fat. And you're going to flavor the fat. And then you're going to put it on the protein. And then season it. Salt, pepper. So that's all we're going to be doing. I'm going to show you how to do it with special technique. Start by turning up your heat to a medium high, and we're going to throw in about...
We're on an electric stove, too. So funny. Oh, this is beautiful.
A tablespoon of butter. You can put more or less. I recommend taking about this stick worth of butter, just sticking it in there. I'm sure nothing will go wrong. While you wait for that butter to heat up, all you want to do is just, you can move it around like this. You can move with a spatula. It really doesn't matter. You're just trying to coat the pan at this point. And if you need more, put more in. And while it's heating up, just set your eggs off to the side because you're going to need them. And we're going to show you how to do it the incorrect way. Like, I don't know, maybe if your name was Josh Weissman, you would do it that way. And then I'll show you the correct way to do it. Get yourself a nice old spatty here. Get this all on the edges here. And nice and spread out. And now we're going...
I called it a spatty.
to put our eggs in once it's getting a little toasty. So there's the incorrect way, the Josh way of doing it. Oh, look at me. I wrote a cookbook when I was 7.
What's also really funny, and so this is part of the character thing, is I had to practice a crap ton to get good enough to when I do certain things, I'm flexing different cooking skills that are actually legitimately difficult to do, but I'm doing them in combination amongst what appears to just be this reckless maniac just stumbling through the kitchen trying his best. So I'm using highly advanced, difficult techniques while I'm doing these various videos here, and then incorporating that with just madness. It's such a great juxtaposition. How's the chat feeling about our egg related content here?
Joshua said yikes, and it's cooked on a smaller burner.
Yes, smaller burner, cast iron pot, and wait for the end product. I'm telling you, that's the whole bit. Is so it looks like this train wreck of a cooking mess, right? And then at the end, it always pops out and looks beautiful.
Years old and I lost 100 pounds. You have to, I make up recipes. Now there's the...
Yes.
Sherlock Owl said she's going to play it on repeat, on mute, over and over again.
Yes! Get it like... 100,000 views just from her. She's just always recommended my egg video for the rest of her life.
Am I muzzled?
Oh, you might be muzzled.
I don't.
Oh, PB's muzzled is off now. She's allowed to speak again.
Well, thank you.
But yeah, your microphone's really picking me up today for some reason.
Oh, really?
Yeah, did you move it? Oh, I muzzled you again. There we go. Oh boy. Oh, now everything's breaking. Okay.
The cool way of doing this, you just go, boom, same exact thing accomplished.
So
Now,
Joshua Weissman taught me this really cool egg technique to break it on a table instead of the corner, and it gets rid of the eggshell problem. And so my character's thing is that I'm very upset about that fact because I don't want to admit that his egg technique was better, and that I want to stick with my tap it on the side, and I'm trying to find a justification for it.
Key detail for what we're doing here is you want to make sure you put the eggs on one side specifically for the technique we've got going on here. And you're not going to do too much with them. You're just going to let the heat take care of it. We're going to lower this heat down to a medium. And we just want to keep the egg whites in the general area of the eggs. This isn't crucial. You'll be fine. But we do want to keep them separated with a line in the middle. And we're just going to put them in the eggs so that they're not too spread out. That's all. So you want to make sure you got your butter over here and your herbs because we're going to put way more butter in here. If you, I don't know.
I also love the trajectory of how I'm clearly an insane person too. That's also a fun one.
100 pounds, for example, and ate one of these eggs, you gain it all back. So as you can see, they're a little bit wild boys. They'll try and run away, and that's okay. Just push them on over. Keep them in a general egg shape. Again,
It kind of looks like a skeleton or an alien.
perfection is not necessary. Sometimes you watch Gordon Ramsay, and he's like, oh, this is how you have to make them. Well, guess what? What has to happen is you need to make a delicious experience for yourself. And that's it. You don't have to go and do a 39-hour pork broth tonkatsu ramen recipe, Weissman. You don't need to do creme fraiche in an omelet, Gordon. You can just fry up some eggs with butter and herbs, and guess what? It's going to be delicious. All right, so once the whites are almost all the way cooked, there'll be a little puddle on the top here that you can see has not cooked yet. It is time to initiate technique time. Get yourself like a good...
Look at this chunk of butter is good. I feel, looking back in retrospect, I feel like I should have put the whole chunk in as the joke, but I backed out at the last minute and I'm disappointed.
Solid 2.
I love the broken eggshells though, sitting right next to the open butter container. It's so trashy. I love it.
2 to 8 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to go ahead and chop this bad boy in half here, but not fully in half. I'm going to go with the 75%er. That's a big...
Oh, a call out to Gordon Ramsay. I was watching one of Gordon Ramsay's videos, and he told me to put a tiny knob of butter. Chunk, boom!
Entire block.
Big chunk of butter. And we're going to put that on the exact opposite side of the eggs. Now, we're going to get a spoon, and we're going to crank that heat up.
Oh, yeah, of course. Is it real butter? What else would it be? Come on.
Up to real high.
We aren't peasants here.
It's not the moon.
Exactly.
But we're going to hold it like this. Watch this. I'll show you. All right, so you get your big spoon. You put your butter over here on the other side. You just
check this
tilt
out.
it.
We're
Trust
busting
the
out a
eggs,
French
and
technique.
all will be good. Look at this anti-gravity eggs here. Now we're going to crank the heat up. And this is going to cause the fat to start boiling, and we just start throwing our herbs in there. Now we're flavoring our fat. Remember how we said this? It could be any herbs, by the way. Any flavoring you want. I'm just taking some random stuff here that we're growing, and I'm holding the corner up directly on the heat. So it's getting nice and toasty over here, but our eggs are going to slowly cook, but very, very slowly. And that's what we want. We're going to get a boiling puddle of butter here, and then you will see how this becomes incredible. All right, so once it starts getting a little bubbly, you're just going to come in here with your spoon. You're going to scoop it, and you're going to baste the eggs. And they have a built-in timer. God designed eggs with a built-in timer for you. As you ladle the boiling oil onto the egg,
God designed a timer into eggs. I love that line.
it will actually turn white like the eye of a fish, and that's how you know it's ready. So you can go and just alternate between eggs. You don't have to be equal. Remember, people are not made equal. There is no such thing as equality. Anyone proposing that is a genocidal maniac.
Just slipping in some Gulag Archipelago references for no reason.
It's all about just choosing what you want here, people. We can't control other people. We can only control our own choices. So, freedom of association, really key principle there. In-group preferences are a thing. That's what I've learned from cooking eggs. What are you learning? Let us know in the comments below. What important information has cooking eggs taught you?
I'm cooking eggs. I've learned about the problems of equality and the fact that it's a scam run by communists to commit genocide. What have you learned about cakes? It's just so ridiculous.
All right, so you're seeing them start to turn white here. Notice how I'm getting some of the herb on there. That's just random, and that's good. So you see this one? It's starting to turn, so I don't need to baste that guy anymore. As soon as it's just starting to turn
I don't need to baste that guy anymore. Proceeds to baste it 3 more times.
white. Now let's get this one on over here, and we'll give that one same treatment with that butter. We're going to turn off the heat here, turn it off, and we're going to just put these right onto the plate with the spatula here. Very simple.
Boom. Boom.
Now we're just going to finish them up with some finishing salts here. We're getting our Malden salt, giving a nice little crunch. Notice we didn't put the salt while it was in the pan. That's what the Gordons and the Weissman will tell you. Just getting it nice and seasoned. And you can do this over bread. Put these on.
You're like, there's no way this is going to turn into a decent product. There's no way this is going to turn into a decent product. It looks
Eat
terrible.
them by themselves.
Oh, don't wait.
These are high quality. All right, and if I have to teach you how to make toast, just turn off the video. All right, so there it is.
There's
we
the
got these
delicious,
perfect
perfect
eggs on top of toast. We're gonna make them fancy as well.
Wait for the
They're
cut.
just going like this.
Wait for the cut.
And so there you have it, people. Like, imagine, I don't know, you get into cooking, you start watching some YouTube videos, you run across some people like Josh Weissman and Gordon Ramsay, and they're doing all this fancy stuff, and, you know, it kind of gets into your head, and you start trying to do these things and copying them, and then you just feel like they think they're so much better than you. You know, if you ever had that problem, you can watch my cooking videos instead, where we do them in a more reasonable way, and you can accomplish these as well. Isn't that right, Weissman? And that's it, guys. You now know how to
Where's
fry
the cut?
eggs.
Oh, I put it at the end like B-roll. I
Like
forgot.
an
My bad. I was like,
expert,
where did it go?
and,
I
you
know
don't
I
need to
put
be
it
a
in there.
Special, fancy, amazing chef to do them. And here's just some
Here we
visual
go.
proof that I'm
Check
better
this
than
out.
Josh Weissman. And
Boom!
take a look.
Knocked it out of the park. Oh, yeah. I basted that egg to French-style perfection. Look at that. In a cast iron on a electric stove on the wrong burner. And look at that egg yolk pull right there. Look at that egg yolk pull.
Look at
Woo!
that cut there. I mean, just wonderful.
It's ridiculous. And this is a legitimately helpful video. It'll teach you how to make eggs better.
Yeah, it is.
So what do we got going on over here,
Joshua
peeps?
said, would you like some egg with your pepper?
Would you like some egg with your pepper? Oh, yeah. If you haven't seen the
Just a little
seasoning video, you may be unaware of the fact that seasoning is a scam. So you have to use 10 times whatever you think is the right amount to even begin to have flavor. That is the key to cooking. Whatever you think's the right amount, do 10 times that unless it's really spicy, in which case, still do 10 and suffer and then learn through your suffering. And so that is how to fry an egg, boys and girls. And that is our next installment in the egg saga.
Pizza Owl has the same plates as us.
Yes, Target
So we're
exclusives.
plate buddies.
Yes, okay.
And Joshua said it looks good.
I know, it's bizarre. It's ridiculous. And
It's a very
So
sad
funny.
day today.
why is today a sad day?
Sherlock Owl says she lost her Gordon Ramsay account.
What happened to it?
She forgot the password.
What?
Yeah.
Just click forgot password.
Maybe she forgot the email too.
Wow.
Pizza Owl said put salt on it.
We did. We put salt in it.
We put salt.
Yeah.
Corey said more salt.
Oh, we're using Malden salt. So that's the flaky salts. That's what the pros use. That's the secrets. They don't want you to know about finishing salts, people. Get Malden salt.
It's a whole science.
It really is. It really is. Salt is bizarre. All right, so that's our cooking videos for today. Do we have any readings lined up that we need to address, or shall we hop on in? Okay, and do we have any conspiracy videos? Because I have a Mandela Effect compilation to get us into the mood, if you will. And then we're going to move right along into the moon landing conspiracies.
I don't think there are any suggestions.
So we have a 46-minute documentary on why the moon landing is 100% fake to watch tonight. Then we have Neil deGrasse Tyson on the Joe Rogan podcast, letting us all know why that's a lie. So we're going to hear both sides of the story here tonight. And let's see what's going to happen.
Sherlock said in all caps, OMG, Tyler is a genius. There is a forgot password button.
Yes, there is. Woo!
Learn something new.
I agree entirely. 100%. There's Nikola Tesla, and then there is the wizard like a mile ahead. Bring it on, Tesla. What are you going to do? You're dead. I still got a good 75 years where I can mock you ruthlessly.
You know what Tesla doesn't know about? The forgot password.
The forgot password. You know what? Knowing him, he probably wrote that down. He's like, I sense that there will be screens, and if you lose the information, you will be able to recollect that information by providing other pieces to prove your identity. I guarantee you, the man was insane. Like, he predicted so much. The dude is nuts.
We do have a reading.
All right, let's get this queued on up. Let's get some readings going up in here. What are we looking at about? What kind of reading are you looking for? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll get that reading started shortly.
Let me see.
I don't know
It's
why I'm
for
talking
Pizza
like that.
Owl.
I just started turning into NPR voice. If you could just let us know if you are suffering from anything in particular that you'd like to get insights on, it's okay. And just as I take this knife and I slit his throat, I want you to know that it's acceptable to do, because as long as I don't put any emotional charge into what I'm saying, I could sit here and advocate for ideas that sound reasonable, like genocide, and frankly it just doesn't seem to trigger anyone's emotional response in any way. It's kind of odd how I could just sit there and say how, communism really seems like a legitimate philosophy. I think that for all its faults, that there was a lot that they got right, and if I say it in this tone, despite the fact that I just said killing 150 million people in the last 100 years was a good thing and just a few faults, you won't recognize it just because I've lowered the tone of my voice and removed all emotion. So tell us, what's on your mind, Pizza Owl? Isn't that freaky? Isn't it freaky?
It's made me uncomfy. Joshua said, I once took a picture of Gordon Ramsay's family.
Whoa, are you a
Cool.
Gordon Ramsay stalker?
Possibly.
Gordon Ramsay
Cool.
stalker? You're just like, I didn't get a picture of Gordon, but I got his family. Close enough.
Joshua also said, whatever you're drinking, I want.
All right. Well, I am currently drinking a import Monster energy drink, about as unhealthy as it can get, but I did not have any other form of caffeine available.
The trick is pure caffeine.
Yeah, that is the key. And
Owl.
Logos, build, growing, and creating beautiful, good, and true things.
Yes, Pizza Owl says she would like a general reading.
All right, let's go. Getting Pizza out of that general reading. If you could go ahead and update that for me, and let's get this started. What do we see coming up here? Ooh, 10 of Wands popping up for Pizza Owl here. So this is about the completion of an emotional chapter in our lives. A lot of times we can find ourselves in a situation where we look around and we see something that we maybe wanted and couldn't get. And then we tell ourselves how that thing was stupid and dumb and it wasn't good to begin with. It was all a lie. And no, I didn't really want that. We can have that happen a lot in our lives. In fact, that's kind of the character that I'm playing in this egg video we just watched. And this does happen to people sometimes. And so what the 10 of Wands is telling us about is to avoid this situation happening again and being worried about this kind of thing, what we want to do is really focus in on the completion of our principles. So we really want to focus in on on the completion of a spiritual chapter in our life, and not saying, is this what I want? Is this what you want? But instead, is this what my principles are telling me to do? And so if you can shift your perspective away from your material desires, emotional desires, into even intellectual desires, and instead just asking yourself the question, is this right? Am I doing the right thing? Am I following what God wants me to do? That is a much more powerful approach to life. And while it will leave you tired and it will leave you in a state of exhaustion sometimes, because the world will throw so much at you for sticking with your principles, in the long run, you'll be able to look back and say, hey, at least I did the right thing. And you won't have those kinds of problems anymore, because you won't be looking at those other people and saying sour grapes to them. You'll be able to say, I know that I did the right thing because I followed my principles. And so that's what I see popping up there for you, Pizza Owl. I hope that helps you out and gives you some insights. Boo-boo-boo-boo.
Up next is Booyah Owl.
Booyah Owl.
A general reading as well.
Awesome. Let's get Booyah Owl a reading. By the way, if you're a new owl here, you'd like to get a free one-on-one personality test and call with me, type new owl in the chat. We'll drop that link for you. And that is where you'll get a personality type that gives you insights on your career, health, wealth, relationships, all that good stuff, all for free. And it is not a high-pressure sales call. In fact, there's literally no way for you to pay me money no matter how hard you try, Josh. That's right. I called you out. So you can get that by typing new owl in the chat.
So Joshua clears some questions up.
Oh.
He said, I was at the Santa Barbara Pier, and he asked me to take a picture of him and his kids.
Oh, well, that's a lot less stalkery. I'm a little this is not as interesting as so what I imagined was Joshua in a full ghillie suit in Gordon Ramsay's tree. Somehow he's all the way over in England, and he's got a private detective scope on, and he's like, I couldn't get Gordon, but I got his family.
Yeah.
That's what I was expecting.
He said, I didn't even realize it was him until it was done.
Ooh.
And he didn't ask him or bug him for anything else.
That's awesome. Very cool.
Just a normal person. That's how you should treat these quote-unquote celebrities.
Oh, I would love to talk to Gordon and bring up something very small and negligible that he did wrong or could have done better, because nothing would get under his skin more than that. It's like, hey, yeah, those pretty good. I found using white pepper was a little bit better though. Or
saying like, I tried it both ways, and I think seasoning the eggs before you cook them is better.
Yeah. just this tiniest little things, it would eat away at him until he got home, recreated that exact recipe. Think about how much time he'd have to invest. He's a busy man. He'd have to go to the store, get the ingredients, try it again, get white pepper, just to find out I lied about the whole thing. Oh, it's so good. I love it. All right, let's get Booyah Owl a reading here. Ooh, we see the King of Wands. So we see the knowledge of your spiritual principles here. So what this is saying is, Booyah Owl, we really need to be aware of the fact that we need to know, what principles do we stand for? What is our goals? What are our ambitions? A lot of times, and we can see this indicated here with the little lizard down at the bottom, there can be vipers in the grass, and we can very easily become those vipers if we don't have core principles that we're sticking to. And it's super important to realize that without core principles, every person, even people that you might think are good, people who think that they are doing the right things, or they're just doing what they need to do to get by, they can be led astray and do some very immoral activities very easily, and try to subvert and overthrow yourself. And you can also be this person as well. And so it's very important that we take time to reflect on our core principles and to understand what we will do, and not just in the abstract, but how will we act on these in the moment? When the temptation arises, how are we going to fall back on these principles so that we can, in those times when we want to do the wrong thing, how are we going to choose to do the right thing? And that's what we see popping up here, and that's the journey I'd recommend thinking about this weekend here, and I think that might help you out there, Booyah Owl. And that's what I see popping up for Booyah Owl. I hope that helps you out. Hope that gives you some insights. And do we have anyone else?
No, we do not have anyone else.
All right. Should we get straight into the moon, or should we do a little Mandela to warm ourselves up? What are you thinking?
Maybe Mandela. Pizza Owl says that was accurate. I'm going through a depression right now, and thanks for the insight as
Woo! I'm glad. Well, I'm not glad to hear that. I'm glad it was accurate. I'm sorry to hear
Glad
that.
we could help.
Glad that I could help some way. All right. So let's check out some 50 Mandela effects. And I have had a lot of caffeine, so I will probably have to do a restroom break at some point during the stream, just as a heads up in advance.
That is perfect time for my content.
What's your content?
We'll have to wait and find out.
Oh boy. All right. Well, let's take a look here.
I have great time fillers.
So we've got what is called the Mandela effect. For those of you who aren't familiar, all of reality is a lie. Everything's a lie. That's what the Mandela effect is all about. It's everything's falling apart. There's an alternate universe. The entire world is falling to pieces as we speak, and the very fabric of everything that is real has gone to pieces. And so now we're going to watch and see the chronologicalized evidence of these quantum distortions known as the Mandela effect. All right, boys and girls, so we got this one up first. Hazen-Das or Hazen-Daz? Is it with a Z or is it with two A's? Which one do you remember, boys? Let's see. In chat, can we get a 1 for D-A-A-S? And can we get a D-A-Z? Give us a 2. 2 for D-A-Z. 1 for D-A-A-S. That is what we have up on the board. Oh, PVs, do you see what's on the board here today? Can we see Hazen-Daz? We got Hazen-Daz. What do we got here, OPBs? What are you saying? 1 or 2? 1 or 2? Come on.
I'm going to say 1.
She's going with 1. We got 1 vote for 1.
For sure, because I know my ice cream.
She says for sure because she knows her ice cream. I'm going to go with Z. I'm going to go with 2. 2. Do we hear 2 in the chat?
What says 2?
Oh, we see 2 from Dasso as well. All right, so we got 1 from OPVs. We got 2 2s. Do we have anyone else? Going once.
Sherlock Owl says no idea.
No idea. Going once. Going twice. So, let's find out, boys and girls. Let us know your notes in the beginning as the video rolls here, and let's find out which one is the real logo. Current reality is Z. 2 was correct. OPVs is in another dimension.
There's no way.
OPVs exist in another
Even
universe.
Booyah Owl said 1.
Booyah Owl also picked 1.
When did they
Wow.
add a CS?
That's
That doesn't
crazy.
make sense.
So this is an example of the quantum distortions that are occurring that prove reality itself is a lie.
I guess me and Booyah Owl are on the same plane.
All right, I'm not familiar with Ready Whip. Is that? Oh, that's the whipped cream.
Ready with.
Okay. Yeah. I'm familiar. Okay, so which one do you remember? Is it Ready Whip with an H or Ready Whip as in like a wipey but without an H? It's W-I-P. I feel like it's got to be the one with the H because that is the correct way to spell it. But hear me out. As an ad copy guy, by the way, the first one with an H is going to be 1. Let us know 1 in the chat if you think it is whip with an H. And let us know 2 if you think it is wipe, W-I-P. Obviously still pronounced whip. Now, I feel like from an ad copy perspective, W-I-P is the one that they're going to go with because it's shorter on the character counts. And ad copy is all about getting those short character counts. So despite the fact that my attention tells me W-H-I-P, I'm going to have to go with W-I-P because that's what I would do as an ad copy guy.
I'm going to go W-H.
H, all
We
right.
have Sherlock Owl and Booyah Owl saying number 1.
Number 1.
We have Pizza Owl and Corey saying number 2.
Ooh, so we
So
got a
we are
50-50
split.
split. All right, let's find out what it is. Going once. Going twice. So, let's see who it is. Oh, we're going to get an ad. current reality is IP. Wow.
No way.
This is insane. We're going to get an ad here, boys and girls. I'm just going to go ahead and skip through this piece of crap. Let's
This
hear it.
glue
This glue will shock you. Why
will
do you think I need a glue ad on YouTube? Tell me what searches I've had that make you think, you know what this guy needs? YouTube targeted ad related to glue.
shock you.
This glue will shock you. I'm not shocked by glue. I'm
Me
sorry.
neither.
Oh, now I'm shocked by glue. He shot it with a light. Wow, this is shocking.
Whoa.
Watch how this
Oh, wow, he's running over bricks that he glued together with a car.
brick is glued to the wall in seconds.
You know, whenever you're in those situations in life where you ask yourself things like, man, I really wish that I had a glue stick in my pocket that was powered by a UV light that could allow me to run over it with a car. I see a lot of practical applications on this. Okay, he's
It's
currently
50 times
gluing a
stronger than
brick to
any
a wall.
adhesive on the market.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty cool. He got me. He got me. It would be such a scumbag move to do, but it would be really cool to take bricks and just glue them to a wall and make your own staircase on the side of the wall.
my
That'd be pretty
goodness.
cool. All right, next up, we've done Pikachu before. We're gonna skip Pikachu. Okay. Next is JFK. Did JFK have 4 people in the car? Or did he have 6 people in the car? Do you remember JFK as 4 people or 6 people? Honestly, I can't remember either. I'm not historically
Me neither.
literate enough to know. If I had to take a guess, I would say 6 because obviously, what's the guy that they claim killed him? From the grassy, that was all a lie. I mean, we all know that that's a lie. And what actually killed JFK was the man sitting behind him in the car. They shot JFK as an assassination because of the mafia. So the mafia had him killed, and the gunman had nothing to do with it. That's my opinion.
I'm gonna say 6.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't even give him the roll call. All right, here we go. Going once for the man on the left for 4 people. Let's drop a 1 in chat. Now, if you believe that it's number 2, which is 6 occupants, drop 2. Let's see here. And what is the chat saying? Are we getting any feedback? What are you thinking, OP? So
Pizza Owl says number 2.
she's going with 2.
Joshua says number 1.
Number 1.
Sherlock Owl says number 1.
Number 1.
Corey says number 2.
Oh, it's a divide again.
Yes.
Woo!
Oh, now Pizza Owl is saying number 1.
Oh, all right. She switched
So
back. How about
4
you? What are you
people.
going with?
I'm gonna say 6 because it's a Tesla number.
I'm going to go with that one as well. Let's see what it is.
I know nothing about this.
Oh, the current reality is right. You and I coming in clutch at the last minute. The entire chat is on
Really?
the 1 side, but we came in with the 2 at the last
chat
minute.
is split.
Oh, they split. They had some 2s in there too?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, wow. That's pretty insane. Okay. This is crazy. Oh my gosh. All right, let's do one more, and then we'll walk ourselves in to a rabbit hole of the moon.
Beautiful.
What do we got up next? What do you remember? Huh? I'm not sure. What is the question here? Oh, which way does it go? Does it go to the right or does it go to the left? This is so easy to screw up mentally, because it's a universal thing. And we see it so much that it just kind of loads in our background. I don't feel like this is a Mandela effect, but I feel like the right one is this one here on the right, the one that's going like that as a slant. But what do you think, Peeves?
It's 100% number 2.
Yeah, I think that's number 2, and then number 1 is slant. Slant this way is 1. Slant this way is 2. So what is chat thinking? I'm thinking it's slant. I'm thinking 2.
I'm thinking 2.
All right, let's find out what the chat's
see.
thinking.
Joshua says the left.
Okay, so he thinks number 1. So we got 1 from Josh.
Okay.
All right.
Weird one. Pizza Owl says the left as well.
All right, so we got another one. 1.
We have 2 votes for number 1.
Ooh.
Which one were you voting?
I'm
Number
going with 2.
I'm going 2. Corey's going too.
Oh boy. All right, let's give him the drum roll. Going once. Going twice. Sold. All right. Oh, Joshua's updated to 2. Oh, it is 2. All right. So that's interesting. Last time I failed a lot of these. This time I think I jumped into the right timeline again.
I'm surprised you know this one because you literally look at no signs.
Signs
driving.
will not command me. I don't listen to inanimate
He
objects.
doesn't see a single sign when he
Think
drives.
about this. Anyone could set up a sign. Why would you trust a piece of paper? If I wrote a piece of paper that said, you need to punch yourself in the face to get into this place for safety reasons, would you do it? No. What if I put a little seal at the bottom and said it was from the government? No. Why would you trust a sign? I could go write anything. Signs aren't authority. They're just pieces of paper and metal. Anyone could. Look, check this out. I bet you I could. I've never tried this before. Let's see. Buy a street sign. Let's see if I wanted to buy a street sign here. Look at that right there. I could go just buy a street sign for $29 right there. Let's go ahead. Let's even up the ante here. Let's go to Amazon. Amazon.com. This is a world-renowned site for finding anything, right? Stop sign. Let's see if I can get a stop sign. Look at that right there. $9 I could get a stop sign, people. $9. Traffic sign. Private road, no through access, $25. Why? No through traffic. Slow dog. I can go and buy no through traffic sign. I could set this up on a place that is through. Why do you look at the speed limit signs? I can set up my own speed limit signs, people. One ways. Do not trust signs. Use your brains. If a car is coming at you, it doesn't matter if there's a sign that says, but this is supposed to be this way, and this car's coming this way. No one cares. He's coming towards you. That's reality. The sign doesn't change the fact the car's about to hit you in the face, people. It's infuriating. People who follow signs. They think.
You know why someone is about to hit you? Because he didn't follow the sign.
Yeah. Or maybe he followed one of these fake signs.
Because he's a Tyler driver.
Or maybe he followed a fake sign. You never know. We never know. That's the whole point. That's the whole thing. I could go and set up a fake sign. How's the chat feel about my opinion on signs?
Well, Sherlock Owl has driven once, but don't tell anyone.
Ooh.
She drove in her driveway, and she almost ran over her cousin.
Sherlock Owl was almost a murderer.
Almost attempted murder
Almost
by
an
accident.
attempted murder. Wow.
Humanity thinks of
No one cares, Hulu. Shut up. Stop speaking. Oh my gosh, it's the autistic girl. Remember the famous autistic girl? They wheeled out a girl with autism like a couple years ago, and they're like, she's like, hello everybody, I don't like the sky being hot. It made me so sad. And she just read off a script from her parents. Garter.
Oh, the girl who says, how
The one whose
dare
face
you?
looks like this, yeah. The one that's like,
How
hi, I
dare
don't like
you?
this sun. It's very hot. It made me
Oh,
sad.
her, yes.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, how do I thumbs this piece of crap down? What a freak. Man, imagine being that much of a loser in your life. Look at this, sitting here just burning fuel on her boat, isn't she? Wow. Just letting that go up in flames. Glad to see that I don't support Hulu.
Joshua said, how dare you?
How dare you? Yeah, it's insane. We literally had about 5% of our country, which is the only people that believe any of this crap, 5% of our country who sat there saw a 16-year-old mentally handicapped girl, come on stage with zero experience in anything. She's 16 years old, people, and had to go, I just like the dolphins and the sun made me sad. And we all went, oh, that's so brave. That's so brave. 5% of the world was like, that's so brave. You're exactly right. And then 95% of the country's like, What are you talking about? Why are you bringing a 16-year-old autistic girl to defend something that is 100% a scientific matter that is very easy to do if you're actually following science?
I know why. Because they're trying to manipulate you with your feelings.
Who would be manipulated by this?
Idiots.
I can't imagine being manipulated by a 16-year-old autistic child with zero knowledge reading off of a script. Like, is there a portion? Well, there is. So 5% of the public is stupid enough to actually care. That's insane to me. I can't. It's baffling. Absolutely baffling. And keep in mind, people, this whole global climate thing is the same exact con that's been around for over pretty much all of recorded history. It's just the rain dances all over again. Oh, the shaman is going to bring bad weather to you if you do not pay us our bounties. They're the exact same people running the exact same con. And you know this is all true because all of the investors are still buying and increasing the value of beachfront properties. Why would you buy beachfront properties if you think they're going to be underwater in 5 years? Can you explain that? Now, here's the second part. Legitimate skeptics come in and say, hey, okay, so you guys are under the impression that humans are a big factor in climate change. Totally willing to hear this. Could you please tell us what percentage of climate changing factors, because we all know, historically speaking, there was an ice age before humans were doing any of this, right? So what percentage are humans responsible for? Is it 1%? Or is it 95%? Because if it's 95%, holy crap, I'm on board, guys. I will start recycling today. If we could fix 95% of our pollution problems by just me changing little tiny behaviors, oh, for sure.
Yeah, like plastic bags.
Yeah.
Driving a bike.
And if I'm 1%, why are you wasting over $1 trillion of our nation's capital on this scam? Because it doesn't matter. Because a volcano's going to erupt and it's going to put out more pollution that all of humans have in a year, in a day. So why are you wasting my money when people are starving to death? That's what I'd like to know. You know, those are great questions, and we don't get to ask those. Instead, we go, I think the sun is very hot, and I like dolphins. And everyone goes, oh, yay. It's disgusting. 5% of the public is that stupid, people. It's that insane.
Yes.
So with that being said, let's get right on into the moon landing being fake.
Woo!
So this is called A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon. Let's see how this goes. Now, and again, I think since we're getting here, just to establish right off the bat, again, guys, this is not real. This is a magic trick. I am going to demonstrate to you guys how powerful sophistry and rhetoric can be. And it will feel very convincing. You will leave this feeling convinced. Know that I am using the same rhetoric and persuasion that the people used on you to convince you that the moon landing was real. So I'm using the same techniques. Both of them are not valuable pieces. They're not true. They're both sophistry. And this is what you learn from learning how to learn. This is why you should take the self-learning course and learn how to think for yourself. That's what Socrates, Aristotle, and Plato teach you through what's called the dialectic. You can learn more about that for free in our free self-learning course. When pride comes, then comes disgrace. Proverbs Dun dun dun. Oh, I've seen so many doomer. Oh, this happens every time. Christian cult people who come up and they're like, no. But this time I figured out the scientific mathematical hidden code that proves the end of the world is 2023 or whatever the number they make up is. And it's always a new number. And it always, you go and you see their blogs. It starts with comments like this every single time. There's nothing concealed that will not be disclosed. Matthew 10:26. That's got to be. Can you pull up the scripture on that? Because I feel like that's probably the most out of context thing I could imagine, but it might not be. Let's find out. It's there is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed. What is that actual context of that quote? I want to know what the Bible. Matthew 10:26. I am interested here.
Okay, Matthew.
I go to bed sometimes 12, sometimes late. Last night, 2 a.m. Ooh, Sherlock Owl is a night owl. That's the correct time for me. That's when I go to sleep.
Okay, do you want me to read?
Let's read 10:20 through. Let's go to 10:24.
Okay, 10:24
to 10:26.
It says, "The student is not above the teacher, nor a servant above his master.
Okay.
It is enough for students to be like their teachers and servants like their masters. If the head of the house has been called Beelzebub, how much more the members of his household?" And then 26 says, "So do not be afraid of them, for there is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed, or hidden that will not be made known."
So it's saying that they're going to reveal the false prophets, I guess? I don't know. But it doesn't seem like, I don't see how that has to do with governments disclosing their secrets.
Maybe like find a good teacher.
Maybe.
Because if you're their student and they're evil, then you're going to be judged.
Yeah, okay, I like that. That's very nice. All right. Let us build a tower that reaches to the heavens. That is a call out to the Tower of Babel, so that we may make a name for ourselves. Uh-oh. By the way, this comes to us from Krishna Tube. A funny thing happened on the way to the moon. It is so hot in here. It's crazy. Well, obviously, this documentary is not true because we all know nuclear bombs aren't real.
Since the beginning of recorded history, the human race has been at war.
That would be so fun to just start saying everything isn't real, apply the Socratic method, and see what doesn't have a conspiracy. Because you could literally do this about anything.
Anything and everything.
Everything.
First with members of their own family, then their fellow countrymen, and finally nations at large. Yet perhaps the starting ground for all these conflicts lays somewhere deeper, within the very character of the human condition.
How does the camera survive? Good point. Nuclear bombs are 100% fake.
House is flattened, and
it's flattened.
Whatever this camera is on,
it works.
That's the material we need to build.
Exactly. It's clearly a lie. And you know what? What do they call it? What's the predictive programming? Remember Indiana Jones? He gets into a refrigerator and survives the nuclear explosion.
Yes.
Why? Because it's predictive programming to tell you it's all fake. Oh my gosh! Look at this. We're blowing up nukes, boys and girls.
What the heck?
In the dark, untouchable crevices of the human heart. It is said that the first iniquity of free will began even before the maiden pilgrimage from the embryo, preceding the very creation of the earth itself.
I'm sorry, what? Why are we watching a child being born right now? What is going on?
It is in the dark, untouchable crevices of the human heart. It is said that the first iniquity of free will began even before the maiden pilgrimage from the embryo, preceding the very creation of the earth itself.
So humanity's sin began before the creation of the universe itself? When does it say that in the Bible? And what does that have to do with the moon landing?
The life of souls in the
I
heavens.
really hope this is a moon landing documentary and not like some, and here's our religious, this is why you should come to our
It
church.
feels like a cult video.
What if it is a cult video?
Realms. The dawn of warfare, some believe, was initiated by a fallen angel whose trespass against God was pride. In ancient Babylonia, in an age so long ago that the exact millennium remains in question, the Tower of Babel began construction.
Oh, we're talking about the Tower of Babel here, and she's talking about how it was built up, how war was a product of Lucifer. Okay, I get it.
It was to be the single greatest achievement of the
I see Joshua just putting Jack 3D over. What is that?
I'm not sure.
human race. A
I should
tower
drink what?
Drink it.
Drink Jack 3D.
was so
Oh, I guess it's a pre-workout.
A pre-workout?
Yeah.
Okay.
tall that its summit would reach the heavens, and by it prove to the world that their race was superior. It would be God's irony that it would never be finished. Time passed, nations fell, a machine age emerged, and once again the
Wow, we really just skipped over a lot of history there, didn't we? There was the Tower of Babel and then the Industrial Revolution. Like, whoa, all right, that's a bit of a jump, but all right, I'm in.
ingenuity of the
That's an ENTP's history right there. It's like, so guys, like there was this being of all truth. His name was God, the light, the truth, and the way. Created the universe. Then there's this dude named Lucifer. He is a total jerk. We don't like him, and he is just screwing us up here. He owns this whole place, and our job is just to follow God. And like he wrote a book. You should check it out. It's called the Bible. Bing, bang, boom. Let's get on out here. Skip the Old Testament. Don't even worry about it. New Testament's all you need, and we're good to go to war. Let's go to war against Satan. Woo!
species which held dominion over all others unveiled what was at the time the most monumental accomplishment ever imagined, the largest machine yet constructed, an automation so mammoth and so revered even before its first
We're getting into the Titanic here. All right.
demonstration that its only befitting name was Titanic. On April 10th, 1912, it set sail.
Bye, boat.
It was boasted to be the ship that God himself could not sink.
Oh, I love the story of this because the guy comes out with his little PR stunt. And he's like, I'll tell you what, this is the ship that God himself couldn't sink. Ha ha!
How did that turn out? Challenging God. How'd that work for you?
Oh, it's beautiful.
It would be God's irony that the very element that was meant to keep it afloat would cause it to sink. Water.
She really likes that. It would be God's irony. She really likes to use that line.
Frozen water in the form of an iceberg. Not even one voyage did it complete.
Why are you talking like Yoda? Not even one voyage did it complete. You mean it did not complete one voyage? It doesn't make you sound more mystical and eclectic if you just talk like Yoda. It sounds like you don't know how to speak.
Bespoke post, they just send you.
It doesn't work unless you're a green Muppet. You have to be a green Muppet for the backwards speak to work. Speak backwards, you will. You have to have that accent or it's not going to work.
And then the next age embarked into the annals of human history. Perhaps the last age. The space age.
Oh, okay, that's a bit of a jump. She's now saying that everything after the space age is the last age. We're all dead. This is it. It's all over.
Oh, wow.
That's a pretty bold claim. You do know the Bible says no one will know when the end times are, right? Just saying.
No one.
Not even Jesus himself knew.
age.
So it's interesting you know more than Jesus.
Competition for victor was unparalleled. Powerful nations spent billions in unabashed rivalry to outdo the other. The Soviet Union launched the first orbiting satellite, the first animal, the first man. They had logged 500% more hours in space than the United States. And in June of 1969, they launched an unmanned probe to the moon to retrieve the first soil sample
Okay,
from...
what is with the Gregorian chants in the background? Is that supposed to make this like, is this a church thing? It's just like, in the beginning, the moon landing was fake. And faking the moon landing, it was. It's like, why?
From another world, just 1 month before Apollo 11. That's how close the race was. Had their unmanned probe not crash-landed into the lunar surface, the first moon rock brought back to Earth would have been by the Soviet Union.
That moon rock that they brought back, here's some lore I found out about researching this. The moon rocks are all lies.
Really?
They gave out all these moon rocks to people as gifts, and then they analyzed them in labs. They're petrified wood.
Really?
Petrified wood.
I haven't researched this at all.
Oh, you know what's a
Huge
huge bummer? Joshua didn't see the dinosaurs are fake one, and he is in anthropology.
Oh, really?
Oh, you should go back and watch our dino episode sometime, Joshua. I think you'll enjoy it. And what were you saying, O'Peeves? Good to know.
Richard
I don't know. I don't remember.
Nixon, president at the time, had this to say about the latest work of the human hand. It is the greatest week since creation. The greatest event since the laying of the foundation of the seas, since the origin of the universe itself, since the design and formation of the delicate...
Nixon really said that? Did he really say that? Can you Google this for me? I don't... They really... So they really scared... What's that mean? Oh, petrify, as in like a preserved wood. It's like a wood that's been around for a while. Can you search... Did Richard Nixon really say the moon landing is the biggest thing that's happened since creation? Did he really compare landing on the moon to the creation of the universe itself? Because that's a pretty bold claim. Like, really? That's not that big a deal.
Human eye, through which all these things are perceived, was a flying machine with its 2 passengers, landing on its closest celestial neighbor and returning from where it came. Perhaps again, God's irony lies somewhere within this great boast of humankind.
Goddard says moon rocket cannot fail. Interesting.
The building of the tallest tower for the sole purpose of standing out among the races was never finished.
Okay.
The machine that was so great that it was said to be untouchable by even God never completed its first voyage. And finally, the crowning achievement of humankind, the greatest boast of the species, the event in human history most associated with pride in our own accomplishments, landing on the moon. 20 years later, and years behind schedule, the same space program couldn't put into Earth orbit a telescope with a lens that focused. And yet 2 decades earlier, a mission 100 times more complicated worked on its first occasion.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. She's starting to say some pretty miraculous things. Wait, is that true? They went from not... hold on. They went from not being able to get telescopes into space. And 20 years later, they sent people into space, got them to the moon, and got them back. In 20 years? How long has Elon Musk been trying to go to space with all our modern technology? And he's still a complete failure at it. He's never put a human being anywhere close to the moon, as far as I remember, right?
Not that I know of.
I don't think he's gotten a single human into even space, right? It just keeps blowing up on sight. By the way, the free market is 1 trillion times more efficient than the government. If the government was able to do this, that means that the private sector should be able to accomplish the same thing in about, literally, this is not an exaggeration, 1,000th the time. 1,000th the time. So this was back in the 50s. Think of all the advancements that we've had in technology. Don't you think? Think about a car. Let's do this right now. Let's take a look. Car from the 1950s. Oh, let's do best car from the 1950s. All right, let's see what it looks like. Top luxury cars from the 1950s. We'll just pick one off the top of the list here. Just see what the name is. 1957 Chevy Bel Air. Okay. So let's take a look here. 19 Chevy Bel Air miles per gallon. Actual miles per gallon here. What are we looking at? Based on this data from 8 vehicles, 300 fuel ups, and a bazillion miles driven, Bel Air gets on average 12.86. We'll round that up and say 13 miles per gallon. So this car right here gets 13 miles per gallon, one of the best cars from the 1950s. Let's search best car 2020. All right. Our 10 most awarded best new cars, our 10 most awarded cars. This should get us something similar here. That's a totally different vehicle though. I want to see a car. That's an electric car. Well, that's a good example of what we're looking at today, but you know, we're not trying to do electric. I want to get a semi decent comparison, you know? Let's see here. Come on. Here we go. Honda Accord is the best car. Let's go with a Corvette. Corvette's pretty cool, right? All right, 2020 Chevrolet Corvette. Let's take a look here and let's search miles per gallon. 19. That's actually not that much of an improvement. Wow. Why is it so small? Maybe I'm wrong. Okay. Really? 19 miles per gallon between 13 to 19. That's actually not that big of an improvement. I'm not that impressed. Not that impressed at all. Okay. Well, maybe the moon landing did happen. This documentary is convincing me otherwise.
With close scrutiny of the motives of the zealous Nixon administration, a critical examination of the entirely government-controlled press coverage, and newly discovered footage of the crew of Apollo 11 staging part of their mission, we wish to detail what may come to be the greatest government conspiracy of all time.
Here we go. The greatest government conspiracy of all time. We're finally at the point. Let's see what's going on here.
A funny thing happened on the way to the moon.
Let's hear it.
Humanity thinks
Oh
of
gosh,
nature.
it's this girl again. Oh God. Let's go ahead and just mute this stupid person who shouldn't be allowed to have a voice in public. Oh, that's a lot of mistakes and failed rocket ships. Hey, does anyone else, let me know if you experienced this in school. Did anyone else go through the all-female astronaut thing in class?
Wait, what?
So this is something you don't hear about this much in the history books. So they tried to do this whole, women can do stuff too. Yeah, let's do an all-female astronauts. And they went to space, and we watched them go to space and then come back down on the television. So in class, they wheeled out the TV for us to watch the news live and watch the women come back, and the thing just exploded and they all died.
I don't know about the women, but I know they had like civilians go into space.
This was
They
not
had, like,
this was
different
female
teachers and
astronauts.
I don't remember.
So they
that.
wheeled it out. They're like, here we go. The first female astronauts, people. Here we go. This is going to be so, oh God. And then there was no discussion. They just unplugged the TV and they wheeled it back into the corner. And they're like, all right, so we're going to go on with class as if nothing happened. It was very bizarre. Let me know if anyone in chat also had a similar experience.
A destination moon. We'll go up, up.
But the good news is we know they're all safe because that's a lie, the moon landing.
Leave
I don't know. I get a certain sense of pleasure out of watching rockets break.
your cares below. Pull the switch. Let's go.
Bye.
A destination moon.
Bye. Have a wonderful time. Oh, there he goes. There he goes. Come on. No. That's the wrong direction, Rocket. You're supposed to smash into the earth. You can't go up. That proves my theory. Oh, there we go. Come on. There you go. Dive bomb. Okay, are we really going with the belief system here that rockets aren't real? Because I know quite a few Iraqis who would disagree.
Oh my god.
Haven't we been bombing them with rockets for 16 years straight? Haven't we been giving them a 9/11 every day for 16 years with rockets? I'm pretty sure rockets are real, people. They explode when they hit, don't they?
Yeah, they have jet fuel.
They just glow up like bombs. That's so crazy.
Leave your cares below. Pull that switch, let's go. Destination.
What's up?
Sherlock Owl said, I wonder how long it took them to fake this.
Right? Exactly. This is a big investment into fakery, huh?
We're flying high up in the sky. Destination.
That one didn't even crash. It just is like, nope. It just blew into pieces. Now, there aren't people in these, right? This is just fun, playful, exciting, right?
I don't know. I think there was one with people in it.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
no.
was like a really big tragedy. When I mentioned the civilians, okay, so
They strapped a civilian to a rocket before they could get one off the ground?
They invited people from normal jobs saying hey, do you want to be part of this? We're launching civilians to space for the first time.
Oh, no.
And the people who accepted, I think there were 11 of them. And the rocket
It was definitely 12. I just tried to pause you again, by the way. It was definitely 12 of them.
Yeah. Well, the rocket blew up, unfortunately.
Oof.
And I think one of my friends had a teacher who declined. He was invited and he said, no, I'm not going to go.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
So why were they inviting them to something that wasn't real?
I don't know. Publicity.
Crazy.
Moon.
I'm loving this music.
Dr. von Braun, how would you say we stand in relation to the Russians, and do you think we can ever catch up?
I'm convinced that in the space field, the Russians are ahead of us, particularly in large weightlifting capability, and that at the moment, the problem is not so much to catch up, but first build up the working speed that they have already demonstrated. After we are running as fast as they do, there's still a considerable gap to close, and only the future will tell whether we'll manage to close that gap.
We cannot and will not ever get into this race as we should, so long as all of our objectives are short-term objectives. We've got to have no finite end to our objectives. The end of our objectives should be as far as we can see at any given time. But right now, we need a 10 to 12-year program that has as its ultimate goal the manned domination of space. And if we don't, we're going to be in trouble.
I believe that this...
Interesting. Okay, so the war general comes out and says, look, if we just treat this as a short-term goal of getting to the moon, it will all be a massive waste of resources. We have to turn this into a multi-staged approach where we dominate the space in the same way that we dominate the air from a military strategy standpoint. So then why did we stop going?
So it turns out it was 7 people, and it was only one school teacher that was invited.
7 people, 1 school teacher.
The other 6 were astronauts.
Sounds like it could have been fake.
nation should commit itself to achieving the goal.
I love how they keep using that old school moon picture from the 1930s video about the moon. What does John Kennedy have to say about the moon?
Before this decade is out, of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the earth.
We must assure our preeminence in the peaceful exploration of outer space, focusing on an expedition to the moon in this decade.
Oh boy, here we go. Got another ad coming up, boys. Wow, they really monetize for these things that Tony Robbins Mastery, a live experience. All right. So what they went for here so far is they watched me watching a 47-minute documentary on the moon landing. First thing they thought is, you know what this guy needs? Glue. He needs some good, solid glue. Then, what's going on? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
You're just like staring at the wall like for some reason. Are you good?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, cool. Well, PB's is just going like this for literally socially. This is what I have to deal with on a regular basis. You're having a conversation and she just goes,
It's not true at all.
what? Why are you saying there's something wrong with what I'm doing? This is a regular occurrence for me. So we go up. They say glue. Obviously, I'm not having none of their glue business. So what do they hit me up with next? Autistic 16-year-old girl who likes dolphins, not a big fan of the sun. They see, wow, he's not having any of this. You know what this guy needs? Tony Robbins Mastery live interactive experience. This is something that he needs a man who talks like this and tells people, you know, the secret to body language is to just approach people and speak with confidence. Because that works when you're a 6'3" bodybuilder, Tony. It doesn't work when you're a 99-pound Chinese girl and you go up and you go, okay, I'm gonna just speak with the confidence. It doesn't help. Freaking Tony. Gotta give him the skip. All right.
T-minus 60 seconds and counting. We passed T-minus 60. 55 seconds and counting. Neil Armstrong.
Wait a minute. Wait. They live streamed the moon landing?
What?
We can't get the internet to work 50 feet from our house. How did they...
No, it's like...
Oh, 15 feet.
Away
15 feet away.
Router.
How...
We're right next to it.
How did they live stream in the 1960s,
what?
the moon landing? Hold on a bit. I don't buy that for a second.
What do they have at that time?
What? There's no way. The technology didn't even exist. They don't. You can't live stream from the moon right now. Oh my gosh, is the moon landing fake?
The moon landing is fake.
Oh my gosh, is the moon landing a fraud?
Yes.
Reported back when he received the good wishes.
There's no way. They cannot have been live streaming the moon.
Thank you very much.
We can't live stream from like the middle of nowhere.
Right, you can't live stream.
We can't live stream 20
not even the
minutes from a city.
If you're 20 minutes outside a major city, you typically don't have the internet connection.
We lose signal like right down the road.
What in the world? This is a
getting
fraud.
The
moon landing's fake.
We know it will be a good flight. Good luck and Godspeed.
Okay, so here's another alternative theory. Perhaps what happened is we told everyone it was a live stream event for political PR purposes. We filmed this whole fake moon landing thing. That's what we showed people on TV. They really did do the moon landing, but you know how
it was pre-recorded.
how entertaining, how compelling, how politically advantageous is it to be like, oh look, little rocket goes into space, turns into a star. Oh, see that little star coming back? Wow, that's the moon landing, guys. Like that's not really as exciting as, oh, they're hopping around on the moon. Whoa, and just like all this fake stuff.
Yeah, maybe.
40 seconds away from the Apollo 11 liftoff. All the second stage tanks now pressurized. 35 seconds.
Why are they just showing us a starving African kid?
Counting. We are still going.
By the way, that is another thing that I do not get at all. It's a land of pure abundance. You can grow food there like it is the Garden of Eden. It's absurd. The amount of wildlife, rain, and fauna, I don't understand why there is a starvation problem. It's like you could just pile up the dirt, throw some starter spuds in there, feed an entire village on potatoes alone. The ground is so fertile. It's mind-boggling to me.
With Apollo 11. 30 seconds and counting. Astronauts report it feels good. T-minus 25 seconds. 20 seconds.
Also, we ship them like enough food to feed all of Africa every year.
And counting.
It's actually a huge problem.
Yeah, that's the problem.
It's actually a huge problem. They have a major population boom, so if we ever cut off our food supplies, they're just going to have a massive population die-off.
T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start.
Oh, jeez. Just beating people with bats. Is that the nuclear bomb going off, or is that the rocket? They're really doing some twisty-windy with this doc, aren't they? Maybe that's part of the bit. Like a stream of consciousness. It's just like here's top 10 memorable highlights from the 1960s. Martin Luther King Jr., rockets, nuclear bombs. Like what's going on here?
I think it's trying to show everything going on at the same time.
Ah, got it.
During that whole time.
Okay,
period,
okay.
All of this other stuff.
I can see that. Oh yeah, the monk that lit himself on fire. That was a wild time. That's a heck of a way to go. Why would you pick that of all the ways? It seems like there could be a lot better ways to do that other than turning yourself into a candle.
No idea.
It's creative. But you know what else would have been creative? Going to a very tall building, filling all your pockets with lots of candy, so when you hit on the ground, you're a confetti, you're a piñata.
Oh my god.
That's creative too, but that doesn't, that doesn't mean it's a good idea.
Unbeknownst to the citizenry, high above the Earth, beginning at an altitude of 1,000 miles and extending an additional 25,000 miles, lay lethal bands of radiation called the Van Allen radiation belts.
Wait, what? There's lethal bands of radiation outside of the Earth called the Van Allen belt? What the heck is that?
Really?
I've never even heard of that.
Idea.
Can we get some Googling on here? Let's go take a look. Let's see what's going on. Oh, can they not see the screen? Is there nothing on the screen right now? Oh, boy.
I see the video.
Okay, good. It seems to have popped down here for a second. How are we doing in chat? Are we hating this? Are we having a good time? Are we having fun? What is the chat's thoughts?
I think we're enjoying it.
Let us know in the comments below. Are you guys having a good time? Are we putting on a good show for you? If not, we can try and adjust on the fly and improve this. Let's see here. I want to know. So she called it the Van Allen belt. I don't know what that is. Van Allen radiation belt. Okay, Wikipedia. Is a zone of energetic charged particles, most of which originated from the solar wind. They are captured by the held around a planet by the planet's magnetic field. Earth has 2 such belts, and sometimes others may be temporarily created. The belts are named after James Van Allen, who is credited with their discovery. Earth's 2 main belts extend from an altitude of about 640 to 500. Okay. Well, there seems to be a big gap, though, that you could go through here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we got these 2 belts. Couldn't we just wait for the moon to be right there and just zip on by, maybe? Maybe that's what's happening there. I don't know. Okay. So that's interesting. This animation she put together here does not depict it the way that the actual depictions are, though. She's showing it as this surrounded thing, and that's not the case. Let's go ahead and take an image look here. Yeah, all of the real photos show there's big gaps on the poles of the Earth. Okay.
Chat says they are having fun with this.
Awesome. Good to hear.
Every space mission in history with humans on board, from both the United States and Soviet Union, from the first in 1961 to the present, has been well below this deadly radiation field. Mercury, Gemini, Soyuz,
I don't trust her for a bit because of this fake thing.
Skylab, the space shuttle, all maintained altitudes well below 1,000 miles. All except Apollo. The more experienced Soviets spent 100 hours in space for every 20 hours of the US. In order to survive the hour-and-a-half journey through this radiation field necessary to reach the moon and return, solid lead shielding between the astronauts and the exposure outside would be required. The mammoth Saturn V rocket used by Apollo was already 35 stories tall and weighed as much as a battleship. To add additional tonnage in the form of a lead barrier completely surrounding the crew members would have made it impossible for the vehicle to get off the ground.
Ooh, okay, so they're trying to say if you were to have the lead required to keep the astronauts alive from the radiation, it would have weighed too much to take off.
Oh, really?
Okay.
That is why
Or they went through an area with the gap.
the Soviets, though more advanced, only sent an unmanned probe to the moon. The Apollo spacecraft's narrowest shielding was less than 1/8 of an inch of light aluminum. In 1998, the space shuttle flew to an altitude of 350 miles, one of its highest altitudes ever. Hundreds
1988. We're kind of jumping around all over the place, aren't we?
Yeah. So once they get through that field, they're fine, right?
I guess.
So they don't need to cover the entire ship in lead, just where the astronauts are as they're traveling, right?
Right, but that's what she's saying, is their area, the amount of lead required for the thickness to deal with that level of radiation would weigh the ship down too much because it's so thin.
of miles below the beginning of a field of radiation that was so severe that the astronauts inside of their shielded spacecraft and inside of their shielded spacesuits saw flashes of light with their eyes shut that they described as shooting stars, due to radiation penetrating first the shuttle's shielding, then their spacesuit shielding, then their skulls, and finally the retinas of their closed eyes.
Oh my gosh. So in 1988, they didn't go to the moon, they just went further into space, got hit by the belt, and it went through the lead that they had put into place. It went through their suits. It went through their heads and was so powerful that whenever they closed their eyes, they would see the sparkles of radiation on their retinas.
Wow.
Holy crap.
As a result, CNN issued the following report noting NASA's unpredicted surprise. The radiation belt surrounding Earth may be more dangerous for spacewalking astronauts than previously believed. Scientists say the phenomena known as the Van Allen belts can spawn killer electrons when the Earth's magnetic field changes. These electrons that are being studied could have an important effect, not only on satellites,
Okay, she's doing the real depiction now. She's showing that the tops and bottoms are open.
which has happened in the past, but could also affect the astronauts by creating large doses of radiation that could influence their health. The electrons can penetrate through various materials, including
The donuts of death.
spacesuits, and can pass through, in fact, the walls of the space station, and can create high charges deep inside of these objects.
Wow. So what are your thoughts so far, O'Peeves?
I don't know.
What are you
Not
thinking?
real.
This is
Moon landing
intense.
denier.
How's chat feeling? What are we thinking in chat?
Not sure yet.
Let's see, boys and girls. Let's see. What are your thoughts? Let's get some
Booyah Owl
thoughts.
says, wait, but there's no gravity.
There is no gravity. Well, we think there's no. We have no real evidence to support that there's no gravity. Remember, That's the whole Socratic method. We don't know. We don't know. Have you ever been to space? Then we don't know yet. We trust some people who have said it.
President Kennedy, a man of political, not scientific background, set the irrevocable goal of landing a man on the moon by the end of the 1960s, just days after America's first astronaut had spent a mere 16 minutes in space, not even achieving a single orbit around the Earth.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but
because they are hard.
Because they are hard.
We take an additional risk by making it in full view of the world. But as shown by the feat of astronaut Shepard, this very risk enhances our stature when we are successful.
The technology necessary to launch the massive Saturn V rocket and an intercontinental ballistic missile is 95% similar. When the Soviet Union launched mankind's first satellite, Sputnik, in 1957, there was grave concern that they had mastered space ahead of the United States and might use this advantage to launch a first nuclear strike from an orbit high above North America. When they also put...
So there's a bunch of political tension between Russia and America to convince them that they're more advanced in space technology so that they can establish dominance. Okay, so we're talking about a lot of political motivation to lie. And if there is anything that we've learned in the last few years here, people, all politics is lies. There's no truth to it. So what have we also learned? They will literally just hype up a flu to get what they want through political means.
Yep.
So if they're willing to do that about a flu, why wouldn't they lie about space? Why not? What's stopping them? They're obviously dishonest liars.
The first animal in space, then the first man in space, then achieved the first spacewalk, the first crew of 3, and the first ever of 2 simultaneously orbiting spacecrafts. Concern turned to fear and then horror as America watched their communist enemy achieve all these firsts with no hope in sight of ever catching up.
Theoretically, do we believe that the Russians did all this, though? How do we know that what they did was real? I mean, frankly, if there's anyone that's more capable of lying than the capitalist news media, it's the communist news media. There's nothing less reliable than a dirty, filthy commie.
A member
says they lie.
Who says that?
Booyah.
Booyah says they lie. 100%. They're liars.
Congress said today that
Sherlock Owl claims that they brought slime to space. Interesting.
he was tired of saying the United States second to Russia in the space field. I suppose he speaks for a lot of others. What is the prospect that we will catch up with Russia and perhaps surpass Russia in this field?
However tired anybody may be, and no one is more tired than I am, it is a fact that it's going to take some time, and I think we have to recognize it. They secured these large boosters, which have led to their being first in Sputnik and led to their first putting their man in space. We are, I hope, going to be able to carry out our efforts with due regard to the problem of the life of the man involved.
This is so bizarre. When you watch the old propaganda, because that's all the news was. It's never been truth. There's never been reality in the news. It's always been lies and theater and a show. This is no different than watching Breaking Bad and thinking this is real life. When you watch the old propaganda, it's so transparently theatrical. You realize that these are like, who cares? Do you know who cares? The people who got hyped up and wrapped into the story. The same way that there's people who think that there's domestic terrorist Antifas running the street, throwing bricks through windows, burning our houses down, and then the equally mentally ill, the KKK, white supremacy is spreading in America. All of these people are insane. And this is just their version of it. It's like, the Russians are going to get to space first. No, we're going to get to space first. It's literally just a TV show, people.
Involved this year, but we are behind.
If it was impossible to better the Soviets in the space race, which was really a race of technological armaments, what could be done? How could America offset the threat of superior weaponry? Throughout the history of...
I don't know, by having superior air force, superior tactics, superior numbers. Having rockets doesn't give you this massive advantage. If you're able to launch nukes, you're able to launch nukes. Like, well, why is this so important?
Rivalry and...
It's not that big of a tactical advantage.
War, astute generals of lesser armies than their counterparts have used deceit and misinformation as a method to achieve victory. In World War II, for example, columns of inflatable tanks were placed at locations...
Hey, that's the War Magician. He did the inflatable tank gag.
...far from Normandy to draw German forces away from the real location of invasion. The Star Wars...
Fun fact about the War Magician. So the War Magician set up fake tanks and inflatable tanks during war as an illusion to convince them that they had stronger forces than they actually had. He also used illusions to make it appear like a city was in a different location than it was by basically building this like fake city using lights and special effects, and then turning the lights off of the real city so that the Germans would go and bomb the incorrect city and blow it up. But the German spies found out about this, and they hired their own magician to study it, figured out his trick, and then proceeded to fly over the fake city and drop wooden bombs on them as an insult to be like, we know your tricks.
Oh my gosh.
Facts.
Josh says poly meaning many and ticks meaning blood-sucking.
Yes.
Politics is many blood-sucking.
That's a good way of looking at it. I like to watch it as just reality television. I'm like, ooh, what lies are coming out? This is gonna, ooh, can you believe they're coming out with this plot twist? Wow, this is a wild story. Meanwhile, I don't care about any of it. Yeah.
War's missile defense program rigged tests to make it seem more advanced than it really was. That's the conclusion of the General Accounting Office. The aim was to fool the Soviet Union about U.S. military...
Wow, this thing is monetized to the moon. I am so... This is insanity.
Cold War.
This is absolutely insane to me that, you know, they make all these whiny, just complaining, and it's the moon, yeah, it's so bad, you guys, it's conspiracies. And then they go and run 75 ads on one video. This is absurd.
Certainly, it was not possible to fool just the Soviets about U.S. strategic capability in the 1960s, while somehow informing 200 million Americans of the truth secretly.
Does my disclaimer block some of the video for you guys and make it not as fun of an experience? If so, let me know. I want to fix that for you. Yeah, I'm seeing that on my phone where it seems to block the top of the screen.
In order for them to believe the United States had the capability to go to the moon, everyone would have to believe it. Furthermore, the pride of a nation was at stake, and the goal of a martyr, not to mention the growing unrest domestically of a government throwing tens of thousands of lives away in a foreign war riddled with contradiction and ambiguity. In addition, the Apollo program had already spent billions of dollars. If it failed to achieve its goal with such an investment, it would indeed be a large and bitter pill for the taxpayers to swallow.
Oh, that's true. All of this is, they're stealing the money out of people's pockets and putting it into this stupid rocket program.
The cost of the program, whose sole goal was to be the first to plant a flag on the lifeless rock just outside the Earth, if adjusted for inflation to the 21st century, was $135 billion.
$135 billion in today's money. So like what? Like a trillionth of what they spent on beer sniffles. It's not even a blip. It's not even a blip on what they threw away for a cold.
Sherlock Owl says you can click dismiss and it'll go away.
Okay, good.
With a profit margin of just 7%, this would be equal to over $9 billion profit going to the privileged contractors chosen by their friends at NASA. If the machinery was in fact only achieving Earth orbit, as other earlier missions had already done, then the completion and functionality of the other components would not have been as important, and even more profit would have been made. $135 billion could feed 2 million people for their entire lives. It could also buy 2 million two-bedroom houses.
Yeah, you can go through and say, how much could I buy if I had okay, cool.
Yet how could such an undertaking be kept sacred, and for such a long time? To the latter, one needs only to remember that an unsolved riddle 6 years older, the assassination of President Kennedy, still daunts the minds of the vast majority of Americans. As a parent of a conspiracy...
Honestly, how often have you guys ever even considered JFK in any reality ever? How often does that ever come up in your day-to-day experience? Mine is only when I watch conspiracy documentaries. That's the only time you even ever hear a mention of JFK.
It's come up as much as calculus, you know?
So many people are still daunted by the JFK mysterious execution. It's like, no.
Like people are laying awake at night.
Oh man, what could have caused it? I don't know. The mafia. Oh, I don't know. The fact that he went against the banks that actually run the country. Everyone knows the Federal Reserve runs it. There's a lot of reasons, people.
As his assassin being
It's not that puzzling. One of our first presidents got shot in the face. Lincoln.
Yeah.
It's not that impressive.
Assassinated himself. The truth of the matter has still escaped history. In keeping a secret of the magnitude of the Apollo missions being fraudulently created, one turns to the Manhattan Project for comparison. Surreptitiously building the first nuclear bomb during the early to mid-1940s involved 129,500 people over a 3-year period. Yet the secret did not get out. A quarter century later, the art and technology of espionage inevitably improved, narrowing dramatically the number of players in the know of a large clandestine operation. Just 1 year before...
That's always what when I see these videos and I think to myself, it's like, okay, so you have these super dark Illuminati secret conspiracy behind doors that nobody knows about. We kept the Manhattan Project a secret for like 6 months, and the Russians knew about it like 3 months in. We're not very good at keeping secrets. If ever there was a secret to keep, it's a bomb that can delete all of existence on the planet. And they kept it a secret for like 6 months. I mean, come on, people. But no, these super sneaky... It's all out in the open. They don't hide any of this. It's all admitted.
For the first mission to the moon, NASA launched the Tetra satellite, specifically designed to simulate flight data coming from the moon, so that the ground crews could rehearse the landing, much as the astronauts did in their own simulations. Had it not supposedly fallen back to Earth, all that would have been needed during the actual flight would be a repeat of one of these computer programs, with a few original variations, transmitted to the satellite for rebroadcast to Houston. Scores of computers and their...
Hold on. She's talking about this live streaming here. How is this at?
Much as the astronauts did in their own simulations. Had it not supposedly fallen back to Earth, all that would have been needed during the actual flight would be a repeat of one of these computer programs, with a few original variations, transmitted to the satellite for rebroadcast to Houston. Scores of computers and their deceived operators on the ground would then receive prearranged information, including the alleged location, altitude, and fuel consumption of the spacecraft, as if it were descending to the moon's surface. If the Soviets tried to find the actual location of an Apollo crew in the hundreds of thousands of miles surrounding the Earth and the moon, it would be tantamount to trying to find a rowboat in the Atlantic Ocean. The fact that the Apollo program was so departmentalized, with various construction and test sites around the country, meant that only a few people saw the whole picture. And for the first time ever, there was no independent press coverage of such an historical event.
Oh, that's interesting. So they set up a contingency plan if it didn't work out, where they could upload fake data to the system. And they admitted this so that they could hide the secret from the Soviet government. They also, for the first time ever, forbid independent journalists from attending the event to record it. So there clearly seem to be hiding something. But to be frank with you, this documentary is not really selling me that much. If anything, I'm feeling a little pro Moon. I'm thinking this seems kind of legit-ish. But there are some stuff that's making me ask some questions.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
the big one that's got me so far is, how do you live stream from the moon?
That's the biggest question.
I have objective evidence to support the fact that in 2021, you can't live stream from 15 feet away from your router. How do you live stream from the moon in 1950s, 60s, and 70s? How?
Yeah.
I just that I don't get.
Whatever
Yeah.
Because a few of these points she's bringing up, I can understand because of the times.
Yeah, you don't want the Russians to figure it out, find it out.
Trying to be secretive, control the information going out.
Right.
It could work both for the moon is fake and for the moon is real. So
right.
It could go either way depending on how you spin it. But live streaming from the moon.
How do you live stream from the moon?
Please explain.
I need to know.
Pictures and sound were distributed to the...
Let's take a look here. Let's see if that's... Maybe we're mistaken here. We were mistaken before with the Van Allen belt, so let's see if we're mistaken here again. Did they live stream the moon landing? How did they broadcast live TV? They broadcasted live TV from the moon. Wow. So it really, oh my gosh. That is the piece that's got me. That cannot be the case. That cannot be the case.
Public was strictly controlled and previewed by the federal government. They were then disseminated unchecked until this hour. For who would realize that the unthinkable...
I'm sorry, they did what?
...of such an historical event. Whatever pictures and sound were distributed to the public were strictly controlled and...
All images and videos that were distributed to the public were controlled and produced and disseminated by the U.S. government, not independent journalists.
...previewed by the federal government. They were then disseminated unchecked until this hour. For who would realize that the unthinkable was not only possible, but absolutely true?
Another freaking ad.
Wise Owl has a great question for you.
Okay.
What was Archimedes' favorite dessert?
Something about levers?
Archimedes?
Yeah, Archimedes' lever. He
famously
said that if you give me a big enough lever, I can move the world.
Oh my god.
It's like his big thing. He also made a death ray out of some mirrors. He was basically a wizard. We did a History's Mystery on him. Did you forget?
Very cool. Yeah, it was a while ago.
Ah.
Wise Owl says, pie.
Ah ha ha ha. How does Wise Owl feel? Wise Owl, are you feeling like the U.S. has been making up some fibs about going to the moon? I say Ireland got to the moon first.
And what of the photographs? What do they tell us? On 3 separate occasions, our office asked NASA's Public Relations Department for every single picture of an astronaut on the surface of the moon, just during the maiden voyage of Apollo 11. Many duplicates were sent. In all, fewer than 20 pictures were found, including first-hand investigation on site at the agency's vaulted archives.
They went to the moon. That's their claim. And they took 20 photos. 20 photos? What? They took like a disposable camera's worth of photos?
A single one.
What?
Wise Owl says the moon landing was fake.
Ooh.
It was all a studio.
Wise Owl calling out the conspiracies.
Quite surprising, considering the
They went to the moon and took 20 photos. That's absurd.
Historical significance of the event. These very photographs are the same ones circulated year after year on anniversary commemorations.
Okay, let's see some anniversary commemorations photos. Let's see. Real Moon landing photos. Let's take a look and see. Is there more than 20 or so real moon landing photos here? Okay. Oh, wow. It's like in color. Well, that would make sense. In the 60s, they would have color cameras. Of course. Oh, access denied. I guess the NSA doesn't want us to know about that particular photo, right? Oh, access denied. I guess the NSA doesn't want us to know about that particular photo. Oh, what is this? This page isn't working. I guess they don't want us to know about that particular photo. What is going on here? Every link I click is blocked. There's a one that's real. Okay. So there's the... I mean, honestly, it looks pretty fake. It looks pretty fake. It doesn't look like that. I mean, why is there such good lighting on the moon? It just seems a little... I don't know, man. That looks pretty cartoonish to me. That's not crushing in. That glass is strong enough to resist the vacuum of space. I mean, I don't know. I guess the vacuum of space is up for debate as well. This is interesting. I'm not sure. This looks pretty... Let me put it to you this way. If this happened, I would... The second I got here on the moon... I'd be like, wow, we wasted a lot of money. Like, we wasted a lot of money here, guys. This is just a big dust ball. This is so stupid. Why are we here? I'm not really following. Okay, these don't look very... They got here in this thing, really? That thing looks like a hunk of junk. That looks like the reject from a Star Wars movie. You know how when... what is it? The Cantina Creatures original. You know when what's his name? George Lucas just took some knockoff Muppets that never made it to the actual Muppets movie, and so he just took these extra dolls and threw them in. These guys here. So that's like the rejects of his Muppets. This looks like the rejects of a Star Wars spaceship right here. This is like, oh, this is going to be a sand cruiser, but it kind of looked too trashy. Doesn't look that legit to me. I don't know. What do you think, O'Peeves?
Yeah, it doesn't look legit at all. And Wise Owl says it was a mock-up studio, and why is the flag moving?
Ooh, the flag moves? I don't know.
And Sherlock Owl said, yeah, that was a theory I brought up about how the flag was moving, and there's no wind in space.
The flag is moving? Oh, where is... Maybe they'll bring it up.
It is estimated that in just...
I'm sorry, what?
It could be fake.
What?
Joshua says, I honestly think it could be fake.
It could be fake. It could be.
The first 60 minutes on the moon, motivated by the tenuous nature of the circumstances, many more exposures could have been expediently taken. Also surprising is the scarcity of photographs of the mission's chief pioneer, Neil Armstrong. The greatest achievement in human history, and of the...
You have what they claimed, quoting from Nixon. Did you ever look that up to find out if that was real?
I couldn't find anything.
Okay, so that might be a lie. But, okay, so they're hyping this up, saying it's the biggest thing that'll ever happen, blah, blah, blah. They took 20 photos.
Yeah.
You have what's supposedly humanity's greatest achievement, and you took 20 pictures?
And Wise Owl says one of them admitted to a small child that it was fake.
What? Oh, I hope this doc gets into this stuff.
She said, I think it's on Google.
A man whose first step echoed around...
If you guys have links to evidence for these, if you got like the moving flag, if we've got the scientist admitting that it's all a lie, please let me know. I want to see this.
...around the world, dawning a new age of scientific enlightenment, there is only one full-body picture of him on the moon, besides this ghostly reflection.
And you can drop those in the Discord.
This one, taken by an automatic camera mounted on the side of the lunar module. Perhaps he feared liability should the whole conundrum later become unraveled. Perhaps he has forgotten that he attested to the authenticity of the event with his signature on this plaque engraved by the federal government. In fact, in the more than 30 years since the event, aside from NASA's initial press conference and the occasional brief anniversary remarks where few questions were permitted, he has never given one on-camera interview to anyone, ever.
What? He's never given on-camera interview to anyone? Neil Armstrong? Really? I don't believe that. Let's take a look here. Neil Armstrong. Oh, the thing says that there is nobody here in our video, guys. Are we not having fun? Are we having a good time? Bring some friends in if we're having a good time. Let me know. Neil Armstrong interview. Let's see here. Neil Armstrong, an audience with Neil Armstrong. Okay. Let's do like Neil Armstrong latest video. This is him. Wow. Okay. I'm not seeing anything pop up. That's weird. That is weird. Huh. Okay. Wait, press conference from Apollo 11 press conference. That was 10 years ago. Buzz Aldrin, how we landed on the moon 1 year ago. Okay, so it just doesn't rank high, but it does seem like he's definitely giving an interview. Wow, he's let's see what does he sound like?
I am Buzz Aldrin, and I was the lunar module pilot on Apollo 11.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running.
Oh, this is Buzz Aldrin. This is not Neil Armstrong. Oh. Buzz. So Buzz Aldrin definitely does give some. Buzz Aldrin latest video. Okay. And it looks like that's the one. Okay. What in the world? Okay, so Neil Armstrong, no interviews. That's weird. Very weird.
From an analytical standpoint, photographic anomalies have to be sought out with an understanding of lighting and shadows. The most straightforward is simple. When objects are lit solely by the sun, as all the scenes on the moon were said to be, after all, lighting equipment was not only impractical, it was unnecessary in bright sunlight, then all shadows, regardless of the landscape, will run parallel with one another and never intersect, as shown by this example. In these seldom seen photographs, obtained from a rarely used auxiliary NASA archival site, it is clear that these scenes were lit with artificial light.
Okay, so that's what I was saying, is it looks like it was really lit weird, and they're saying the shadows line up with what I was saying. If the sun is the source of the light, why would they be in contradictory positions unless you had an external light? Now, they could have set up some spotlights to like make the film more effective. That could be why.
These shadows, which are cast at different angles, are evidence that a second light source is being used. In addition, the sun would not cause an isolated hotspot like this. Only an artificial light would. Again, intersecting shadows and another hotspot. And again.
Yes.
So Wise Owl says, some dude on Google, so very reliable, reckons that the standard back then for filming was 30 frames per second.
Okay.
And the footage isn't.
What is the footage?
Footage is not 30 frames per second.
Why didn't we go back to the moon, NASA? Where is that? Let's see. Do they have... These all look really, really top level. I want like an interview with a scientist. Someone who actually knows what they're talking about. Why we didn't go back to the moon. I remember there was a scientist that someone sent in a while ago. What was it? Here, is it this guy?
In just a few months, NASA's space shuttle program happening on
8, 7, 6.
They can put a back of the Kennedy high-tech Zanpadone and make
it appear and it's
classified and valued at price
I don't know what
$35,000.
All right. Well, maybe we can find it another time. Let's take a look.
And again.
I'm gonna do some Google searches.
It is simply impossible for this picture to have been taken with sunlight on the moon. Here, the shadows are shown to be as black as pitch. And yet here, completely in a shadow, the astronaut is lit up like a Christmas tree. How can this be? Or this, on the shadow side of the lunar module. In this magnification of an Apollo photograph, a rock, very likely a papier-mâché prop because of the crease here, is categorized with the letter C. In later...
Interesting. Okay, so this is one of the contradictory pieces someone sent me over here saying, hey, this NASA scientist explained everything. This is why moon landing 100% legit. So let's take a look here. Don Pettit. Why we didn't go back to the moon. Okay, so that's his name. That's a whole TED Talk. They sent me like a short interview here. I think, is it this one? It might be this one. Oh yeah, I think this is it.
Natural flow. Well, the commercial space is a natural flow for going into a frontier environment like this. And you can see analogs of the Wild West in the United States getting settled, a sponsored commercial program.
They gave me a timestamp on this. I'm sorry, guys. I want to try and find this for you.
Part of the exploration. So I like to see exploration as a metric for how viable your society is, and when you start to atrophy, and when you in the Arctic and Antarctic we're starting to be doing the same.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna have to abandon ship on this. Some guy sent it in, but he sent it and said, look, this is evidence that NASA is definitely already addressed this. I'm not seeing it here though.
Wise Owl just sent a link in the Discord.
Okay, let's take a look.
It's titled, Did Buzz Aldrin admit the moon landing was fake?
Buzz Aldrin admits it's fake? Oh.
That's what the link is. Did he?
Ooh, let's find out.
And you notice how Neil Armstrong is always the one they hype up as being the first man.
Yeah.
They don't really talk about Buzz.
Short answer, no. Oh. Did Buzz Aldrin admit the moon landings was fake? No. Over the years, there have been numerous stories about astronaut Buzz Aldrin admitting that he never went to the moon. Most of these stories are openly fake and not intended to be taken seriously. Some are quotes taken out of context. Some are outright lies. In reality, Buzz Aldrin has never wavered in his account of the historic moon landing with Neil Armstrong and Michael Collins. Okay.
Oh,
okay.
Well,
that's an article coming from SACE Center, so maybe we can't trust it.
Releases of the same picture, the letter is gone, probably airbrushed out. Here, a crosshair, which was burned directly into the image from the film plate, and thus should always appear on top of the objects in the photograph, appears behind the object in this scene, clearly revealing a composite of two pictures into one. Someone apparently forgot to create a burn crater underneath the lunar module's 10,000-pound thrust engine.
Uh-oh. There's no burn crater underneath the spaceship. Interesting.
Wow. Despite the fact that during ground tests, there was a real concern for the vehicle falling into the hole the engine created as it descended. Here is a Norman Rockwell depiction drawn just 2 years earlier based on the latest specifications and scientific data. In these enlargements, it looks as though the lunar module was simply placed there. Not even one speck of moon dust on the landing pod.
Oh boy.
As a result, all subsequent flights had to have the same discrepancy, which was explained
another freaking ad.
away by the effect of no atmosphere.
Absolutely mind-boggling the amount of ads that this video's got. YouTube is pro moon landing being faked. They're making money on... So if... I just want you guys to know, YouTube is financially supported by fake moon landing videos.
Wow.
And what about stars? On the moon, with no atmosphere, they must have been quite a sight to behold. Yet there is seldom any mention of them, if ever, by any of the astronauts on any of the missions.
I don't know how I'm not sure if you'd be able to see stars on the moon. I feel like you wouldn't be able to see them if you've got no atmosphere, right? And then you've got this blinding sun hitting you. It'd be like being in LA. You can't see a star for miles, but imagine you can see like maybe 2 stars in California in the middle of a city.
I can see how you wouldn't see stars.
Yeah, because it's just this blindingly bright light in comparison to these tiny little dinky guys. You don't have the atmosphere there to block it out.
It's pretty crazy, though, how the sky on the moon is black.
Exactly.
But the sky here is blue.
True.
Undoubtedly, creating a mural with all the constellations properly placed in the sky would have been virtually impossible to create accurately, much less realistically. A competent amateur astronomer would have been able to call attention to the slightest error in measurement. The answer? Not to talk about the stars. Ever. In their post-flight press conference, it was the only question to which
I'm sorry, that's a big stretch there. If you're going to go up and say, oh, their solution to the fact that they couldn't put stars was to just never mention them. Okay, go take out you have a modern day, one of the best cameras that exists strapped to your phone right now. If you have an iPhone or an Android, go take a look at that beautiful moon right now. If it's nighttime, snap yourself a photo, look at it with your eyes, snap yourself a photo of that moon. The thing looks like a piece of trunk. It's a piece of trash.
It's a pixel.
It's literally just like little gross blob. I could 100% see a 1960s camera on the moon with the blinding sun, no atmosphere protection at all, blocking out your ability to see the stars. That's not convincing me there. I'm not falling for that for a second.
Neil Armstrong responded with an absence of memory.
When you looked up at the sky...
Hold on. Wait a minute. You are going to... Didn't you just say Neil Armstrong never did a public interview, and now you're cutting to a public interview?
Could you actually see the stars and the solar corona in spite of the glare?
We were never able to see stars.
He's interviewing Neil Armstrong right now. What a liar.
From the lunar surface or on the daylight.
Maybe she was just hoping no one would notice, and as long as we don't talk about it, no one will know.
But then she put it in her own video.
Exactly! She's fooling herself!
Side of the moon by eye without looking through the optics. I don't recall during the period of time that we were photographing the solar corona what stars we could see.
I don't remember seeing any.
Years later, though, Michael Collins would remember seeing the elusive stars and wrote about them in Expeditions to the Moon. It seems his memory improved the older he got. Why don't stars appear in any of the photographs? Simply because the proper, mostly closed exposure setting for the camera's iris, set that way to compensate for the bright sunlight on the moon's surface, completely diminished the faintness of relatively distant specks of diminutive light.
Okay, so exactly what I said.
This answer is true. It does not, however, explain why they never took any pictures of the stars by themselves, with an exposure setting perfect for them.
Yeah, it's still the big question that still remains is, why did they only take 20 photos? That doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Even if it was a weight issue, you make weight for cameras.
Well, but how much could having an extra 150 pieces of film versus 20? Like, it's like, what, it's paper.
Try to claim that every ounce counts.
It's paper.
But still. Bring another roll of film. It's
exactly. You couldn't scrounge up an extra ounce somewhere else.
You couldn't tell the astronauts not to drink a little water before
exactly.
flying, so you had an extra weight.
If you literally just went up dehydrated, like, you would be able to account for 6,000 to 10,000 photos. It's only like 2 ounces.
Easy.
While they took 3 automobiles to the moon, they never took a photographic telescope. Had they done so, they would have been able to see farther into...
That's another... They brought golf carts to the moon, drove around on them, but they didn't have the space to bring a telescope with a camera. Come on. Really? We're going to go ahead and say they had the space and weight requirements for not just a 2-wheel vehicle, a 4-wheel golf cart vehicle. Yeah. Come on. Like, if you're trying to space save, get a motorcycle.
Exactly.
Get a little tiny car. No, they went
Why
with
do you
full...
have to drive it? Get a remote control car.
A remote control car.
The universe than had ever before been realized. If they had taken a telescope and were not actually on the moon, they would have had to concoct undiscovered galaxies that might one day prove to be non-existent.
And if they're accounting for ounces, how do they account? Because again, your weight can fluctuate by a pound throughout a day. Easily. You can gain 5 pounds between one day and the next just from drinking more water or having something salty. How do they account for that?
Why aren't the astronauts just like fasting for the time they're in space?
Maybe they are
Just
fasting, but still, it would be like the difference is so... You couldn't account for that. If it's down to the ounce, that's not true.
Yeah.
The cost of the 3 moon rovers in 21st century currency?
Look at that thing! It's a freaking golf cart!
Nearly $60 million.
They claim their golf carts cost them $60 million.
Each. Though they had...
Each. One golf cart cost $60 million.
Had fewer parts than a Jeep. Where was all this money going? Then there's the flag, blowing in the wind. At least...
There's the flag blowing in the wind. That's what Sherlock Owl mentioned and Wise Owl.
Twice. On the atmosphereless moon. We can only guess that most of the missions were staged inside.
I don't know. That seems like it could totally be him moving it, because if you have no gravity and you're shaking the flag, I could see how that, because your motion would cause it to move.
Blowing in the wind, at least twice.
Because he's twisting it around, and if there's no or very low gravity, it's going to move really weird, you know?
Yeah.
On the atmosphereless moon. We can only guess that most of the missions were staged inside for fear of possible aerial or satellite reconnaissance from an unfriendly nation. The backpacks, designed for 1/6 gravity, must have had the cooling systems removed to allow for movement without falling over. With very near and hot studio lighting, that left one hot astronaut inside. Assuming that it was the astronauts inside, after all, their faces were always covered. The necessary mammoth amounts of air conditioning were probably responsible for the air current. Here
No, it could also be that the person twisted the flag.
The editor cuts to a still shot of the flag, just as the effect becomes noticeable. Here it is unchecked. This rare clip, attained decades ago, was never re-released with the inevitable increase in experience and scrutiny.
Okay, now that, he's sitting there holding it. He still has if he had his hand off and that kept going for quite a few seconds, it starts to seem more believable to me. But as a magician, when I see that hand on there, I start thinking, I mean, you could make a lot of stuff happen with just having your hand there. Trust me, you can pull off some tricky business. Like a hand up like that might seem like nothing. You'd be amazed at what you can pull off with just your hand and a little coverage. And so if he's putting there, holding this, he's trying to get it in the girt, make sure it doesn't fall over, he's posing for the photo, you could be shaking that pretty wildly. And then you also have to factor in everything's amplified by lower gravity too.
So Sherlock Owl is saying how you weigh different things on different planets, and Wise Owl say, we weigh less on Mars, so I'm not fat, I'm just on the wrong planet.
Correct.
But don't go to Jupiter, because apparently that like 10x's your
Oh gosh. Assuming they're real, I mean, if this isn't real, what else isn't real?
To demonstrate 1/6 gravity, a bouncy, floaty feel to the astronauts' movements would be similarly achieved with relative simplicity. Slow motion. You are viewing the scenes as they aired more than 30 years ago. Now let's look at them with the speed doubled. It becomes discernible that they are, in fact, in Earth's gravity, and are no more leaving the ground than they would on Earth.
Okay.
It is clear from these rarely seen color television pictures that the crew of Apollo 11 brought a high-resolution color video camera with them on their mission, Yet the only pictures broadcast live from the moon's surface were these from a low-definition black and white camera.
Interesting. So they did bring a high-definition camera to the moon. We see that they brought that to the moon, and yet, when we go upon further investigation, the only video that came back was this low, grainy footage of the one small step for man, that whole thing.
Yeah.
Also, how did they have the audio hooked up there for the live video? So,
How did they have the mic?
so he's mic'd up. There's a live stream. Somehow it's getting from the moon to Earth. The live stream is the one thing that gets me so far. The live stream's the only one that's 100% sold me. And then the second thing that's really got me is you took 20 photos. Like, I could see if they were running around with video cameras, and then you're just like, okay, that's why we didn't use photo. We've got all this video footage. Okay, I could see that. They have this grainy video and 20 photos after dropping $60 billion on this. Come on.
In fact, the networks complained because in addition to this, they were forced to shoot the images second generation off of a projection TV of the technology of 30 years ago, and were not even allowed to take a direct feed, which further degraded the quality and clarity of the images. Perhaps this was precisely what NASA and the federal government had in mind. After all, it was a first, regardless of where they were. Better to open up their debut mission with fuzzy pictures and numerous blackouts, rather than show too much revealing detail of a false scene that was yet unproven. And finally, the element that seals their fate. Of all the footage of Apollo 11 requested from NASA over a 5-year period, one gem was discovered just before the completion of this documentary. An old reel received by mistake.
Oh, she got a piece of the hidden footage, and she's going to show it to us for the first time.
Really?
Just recently released.
It contains the raw or unedited footage of the crew of Apollo 11.
The raw, unedited footage of Apollo 11.
Michael Collins, Edwin Aldrin Jr., and Neil Armstrong staging part of their mission for nearly an hour in living color, with exceptionally clear behind-the-scenes audio of conversations discussing the techniques used to achieve a disingenuous picture depicting the Earth at a distance in order to falsely demonstrate their far journey from it and their ability to survive passing through the Van Allen radiation belts.
They show high-definition video camera footage, so they had access to the technology! It's all a lie. It's all a scam.
It cannot be misconstrued that this staging was done for some other reason prior to the mission, for the reel itself is slated and dated July 18th, 19th, and 20th, 1969, the very days of the mission when they were said to be approaching and achieving lunar orbit. Furthermore, it is apparent they are in genuine zero gravity aboard the actual spacecraft, necessary to convince the mass media of their authenticity, just not any further than Earth orbit, as you will see. In this never-before-seen or heard footage, not only is the radio conversation...
Okay, so this lady's saying that space and no gravity is real, and they're just sitting up there floating in space and using the gravity, and they're just chilling up there, and then they're going to do the fake moon landing thing.
Between the astronauts and Houston Control audible, there is a secondary, private conversation taking place between the crew and a third confidential party, prompting the astronauts with what to say, when to speak, and how to effectively manipulate the camera to achieve the desired misleading effect. NASA claims that the Houston transmissions were the only ones taking place with the astronauts. Listen now as Houston Control initiates a conversation with the crew, only to find them too preoccupied with the behind-the-scenes trickery to respond. Moments pass, and the oversight is picked up on by the clandestine third party, who quickly prompts them with talk. Immediately, Neil Armstrong speaks.
Hello, Apollo 11. Houston, Goldstone
is that the TV looks great. Over. Okay, Roger. We're happening on Earth.
Wow, so you can hear on the footage that, so they claim the only connection between the space and the Earth was Houston, right?
Yeah.
And then you hear another voice come over that's been guiding them and coaching them on what to say, come over the speaker, and it says, talk. Now, this could be the Apollo or some secret, shadow government stuff, right?
Yeah.
It could have also been one of the other pilots that heard, and he's like, hey, I'm busy fixing something. Can you talk?
Yeah.
That could be it, too.
Again, the illusion they are attempting to create is the Earth at a distance to demonstrate their far journey from it and their ability to survive passing through the Van Allen radiation belts. Understand, too, that only about 20 seconds of this raw footage was ever broadcast to the public, and these conversations discussing their deception were believed to be private. Until now. Here they discuss that these television transmissions were in fact not broadcast live as everyone believed. They were first screened and edited for playback later.
Roger, Neil. We just wanted a narrative such that we can, when we get to playback, we can sort of correlate what we're seeing. Thank you very much.
Here they
so they admit that it's going to be played back. It's not live.
Discuss the fact that they have turned out the lights and have blocked out sunlight from entering the spacecraft through the other windows as to not cause any reflected light to fall onto the spacecraft's wall in the foreground.
Okay, very good. Well, we shut out the sun coming in some of the other windows into the spacecraft, so it's looking through the number one window, and there isn't any reflected light.
The reason this was done is so that the truth of the matter would not be revealed. It is this. Though the federal government would have you believe that
Earth looking pretty flat. I'm just saying. Looks a little flat to me around these parts. I don't know about you, but looks pretty disc-like. Take a look at this. Look at that shot. That's like exactly what flat earthers tell us the Earth is shaped like. It looks like a pancake.
It is.
Got the sun coming in some of the other windows into the spacecraft, so
I mean, look at that. That's very pancake-like.
it's looking through the number one window, and there isn't any reflected light.
the reason this was done is so that the truth of the matter would not be revealed. It is this. Though the federal government would have you believe that this is a view of Earth from a distance out of the spacecraft's window as it nears the moon, it is not. What they have ingeniously done is placed the camera at the back of the spacecraft and centered the lens on a circular window in the foreground, outside of which it is completely filled with the Earth in low orbit.
Oh, okay. So she's saying the effect that they're doing is they set the camera way back. They're showing a portal of a window inside the ship, and that everything else is blacked out inside. They turned off all the lights in their ship. And so what we're seeing is they're actually really close to the Earth, and we're just seeing a picture of the Earth, and she's saying that round bit on the outside is the portal from the ship. Interesting. Okay, I can see that.
The circumference of the window then appears to be the diameter of the Earth at a distance, with the darkened walls of the spacecraft appearing to be the blackness of space.
Sherlock Owl says, I think there's no Earth.
No Earth confirmed! That's my theory. Woo! I like the No Earth Society.
I agree.
Oh, I muted it.
That is why they wanted the interior dark and blocked out the sun from entering through the other windows. Here you can see the extruded window, probably 2 inches thick at the bottom. This is because the Earth's shine is coming in at a downward angle. It also causes the Earth to appear to be an irregularly shaped circle, for you are seeing the outside of the window at the bottom and the inside of the window at the top, which together form 2 different sized halves of a circle. Subsequently, this take was never used. As they
They never used that take. They kept it in the archives.
perfected the shot, a crescent-shaped piece of black material was inset slightly into the window to create the illusion of the Earth's terminator line dividing night and day. It is uncannily convincing. During this segment, intended to be edited and played back later for the worldwide television audience, dated July 18th, 1969, Neil Armstrong condemns himself as he states that he is 130,000 miles out, or halfway to the moon, as the NASA flight log also states on this date, when he is in reality in low Earth orbit of a few hundred miles.
Hi, Roger, Houston, Apollo 11. Calling in from about 130,000 miles out.
Here, during another segment, also intended to air after review, Neil Armstrong falsely explains to the viewers how the shot is attained by putting the camera's lens to the window's glass, as it would have to be if they were the claimed distance away from the Earth.
We only have one window that has a view of the Earth, and it's filled up with a TV camera.
If the window was completely filled up with a TV camera, as he stated, then an astronaut's arm would not be able to get between the camera and the window, as it obviously does here in this outtake.
South America becomes invisible just off beyond the Terminator or inside the shadow.
Ooh, interesting. Okay, so he goes up in and he says to himself, this camera is placed up against the window. We can't look out right now because the TV camera's pointed there, blocking up the whole window. Then an astronaut's arm goes in front of the camera. So that wouldn't be possible if it was pressed up against the window.
Wow.
Interesting. Okay, and you said we had someone who was looking for a reading?
We do indeed.
All right, let's hop on in and check this out. How are we doing in chat? Are we having a fun time? Are we having a good night? You guys enjoying Conspiracy Thursdays? I would love to know if we're making the best stream on the internet. And if not, let us know so we can work towards that goal. I would like to achieve the greatest stream on the internet for 1,000 people. And then we cut off all others. What do you think, Obeeves? Good idea?
Yes.
All right. So who do we got a reading for?
Joshua would like a reading, and he says you can surprise him.
Surprise, looking for general reading then. All right. General reading it is for Josh. Let's get some insights. Let's see what's going on in the world of Josh. Oh, very interesting. Okay, this is a great card popping up here. So what we see is the Magician popping up. So what this represents is being at a point in your life where you are having a lot of great situations set up for you. It's saying that you have considered the material, you have considered your plans, you have considered your emotions, and the goal that you're pursuing is in alignment with your spiritual principles. So when we have all four of those things in conjunction, you become someone who can literally make things happen, make the world happen. You know, this is the situation this is what Christianity really guides us towards, is when we are in alignment with truth and our material world is in alignment with truth and our logic and our thinking is in alignment with truth and our emotions are in alignment with truth and the guiding principle is truth. You can move mountains. And so what this card is saying is that right now in this time in your life, continue to pursue that truth and follow it, and you should be able to make great things happen here. So that's what we see popping up there for you, Josh. Very nice card to see coming up, and that's a major arcana card too, which tends to mean that it's going to last a lot longer as well. So really cool to see that popping up there for Josh. Sweet. Do we have any other readings lined up here? Well, I am going to take a break then and let OPBs do her content. Did you need the screen blocked?
You can put up the video, yeah.
All right, the screen of censorship is now
It's just going to be a mic thing.
Okay, screen of censorship is up, and we will allow OPBs to be unmuzzled and do her thing.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Okay, hello, guys. So, what I have prepared for you today is called the wasp joke. So, one day a wasp was born, and this wasp grew up with some of the best parents that a wasp could ever ask for. They were nice. They were kind. They took the wasp to activities. They made sure he had a great social life. He got to explore the world. He went to Paris. He went to Italy. He went to Germany. He went to the Great Wall of China. He just had a great childhood. This wasp also was homeschooled, and he had fabulous grades, and he was just this wasp prodigy, right? He was the best wasp anyone could ever ask for. Usually wasps are hated by people because, you know, they don't produce much value, and they're just kind of jerks. But this wasp was loved by all countries across the world. Humans would give him placards and awards for his accomplishments and everything that he helped with. He was offered jobs across the world for international business, and he was generally recognized as one of the best wasps and also nominated as the best person in the world. He got Nobel Peace Prizes. He got all sorts of accolades and awards from people all over the country, all over the world. He never went to the moon. Because as we are learning today, nobody has gone to the moon. But this wasp was still very accomplished. He got a fantastic job. He was working as a lawyer. He was helping people in need. He was making a lot of money and just funneling it back to people who needed it. He worked all sorts of events. He did many... Tyler is back. So this wasp would do community service, and at this one event, he's talking to his wasp friends and his human friends, and he's getting a little thirsty. So he goes over, and there's different booths with drinks, and he goes to the lemonade, but the line is just so long. So he finds a tea stand. He's like, maybe I'll get some tea. But the tea line is really long too, so he finally finds a place to go, and he goes to get some punch, because there's no punch line. That is the joke.
Everything she said was a lie.
I
Don't
hope
believe her
you
for a
enjoyed.
second. She has more lies than the moon landing.
The wasp joke.
All right, boys and girls, let's go ahead and let's continue on with the show here. How are we doing in chat? Are we having a good time?
I think so, up until the wasp joke.
What happened with our wasp joke? Are we hitting?
It was really good. You'll have to watch it over.
Okay.
But, Alex says, I believe they faked the moon landing, but I also have a lot of trouble believing anything I see on video because all of this is incredibly easy to Photoshop.
Exactly. And seeing their little bits. Well, the fact that it's in the 60s, though, means they don't have as many Photoshop capacities, but the fact that they're doing this tricky business does seem to make sense.
You can also
Sherlock Owl says, really long, weird joke.
Also notice how the astronaut operating the camera reacted to the mistake by attempting to pan away from it.
Oh, you do see him try to pan away from the mistake. The guy's arm gets in the frame, and he tries to pan away, showing the angle of the camera.
See white band, the major cloud formation across the Earth.
This is a segment that they believed wasn't even being recorded, much less suitable for broadcast, for the lens was being zoomed out and the scene was being changed to that of an interior of the astronauts at work, and apparently the stop button popped back up on the recorder without notice. Here is the diffused work light that they used to see camera controls, but not throw light onto the spacecraft's wall. Here they remove part of the crescent insert. Finally, the iris is opened up, and you can see the real location of the camera and the very bright and near Earth out the window.
Maybe this is something that I just wasn't aware of. Is the moon landing being fake? Just like general knowledge? It seems like everyone we've talked to so far is like, oh yeah, everyone knows that it's not real. I've heard from Russia that in Russia, everyone, like, it's a mockery. They're like, oh yeah, they went to the moon. Sure. Like, But I thought that was like a Russian propaganda thing. Is this like a well-known fact that the moon landing isn't real? Am I the one was mistaken to think that there were people who did believe in it? Am I the one that's being fooled? I need to know.
Here is the slate for the 19th of July. And the same shot of trickery on the 19th of July. And then the 20th. And the same misleading shot on the 20th. Later that evening, they were said to be walking on the moon. How can this be when they were in Earth orbit only 9 hours earlier? And the moon is some 3...
That's a good joke.
What was?
My joke.
Oh, okay.
And he also says, no, I mean, the conspiracy theorists could easily fake everything they're saying.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's kind of the point, is this isn't proving that the moon landing is fake. This is supposed to be a magic trick showing how powerful sophistry and rhetoric is if we do this right, you can make the either side seem equally insane, because they're both just using sophistry and trickery. So the conspiracy theorist does that, and so does the same people who claim we went to the moon. They're not engaging in the dialectic.
And Joshua says, more caffeine for Tyler?
I could use some more caffeine, to be honest, but I don't have time to make it.
He also says, do you drink Bang?
I have drank Bang energy drinks. Yes, indeed. But this is not this is water in a kombucha can. I wish it was a caffeinated beverage.
3 days' journey away. Furthermore, if they genuinely went to the moon, why would they be faking any part of it? Why this trickery with the window?
That's a good question.
By faking being halfway to the moon, it becomes apparent that they did so because they could not even go halfway. It thus confirms that the stumbling block to their success was the lethal radiation of the Van Allen radiation belts. Since the same equipment was used on the subsequent missions in the 40 months that followed, none of them could have gone to the moon. They only increased their proficiency at staging them. When some TV viewers of the second manned mission to the moon telephoned the networks complaining that reruns of I Love Lucy were being interrupted, it became clear that for the taxpayers, once was enough. But it wasn't enough for the government and contractors. Billions of dollars of pure profit went with each return. How coincidental that the following mission would have the element of life and death jeopardy. Apollo 13. Now the public would take going to the moon more seriously and be reconnected with the drama. We now realize that perhaps the reason Neil Armstrong has never given an on-camera interview is because he doesn't want to lie anymore. What threats may have been made upon such honorable men or their families to possess their reluctant cooperation and later ill feelings towards perpetuating this still darkened hour in American history? NASA's highest-ranking official, James Webb, resigned without explanation just days before the first Apollo mission. Why, when he was on the threshold of achieving the greatest accomplishment of his career? All 3 Apollo 11 astronauts also resigned shortly after their return.
Ooh, so all these guys start... I'm sorry, I'm still trying to find that video the guy sent me because I want to hear him out, but I can't find it. I'm wondering if it gets censored by big YouTube. Maybe. So all these guys start quitting on the spot from their jobs. Why? I wonder, and what secrets do they have to keep?
On the 25th anniversary of the event in 1994, Neil Armstrong made a rare public appearance and held back tears as he spoke these brief cryptic remarks before the next generation of taxpayers as they toured the White House.
Today we have with us a group of students among America's best.
Another public interview from Neil Armstrong. Wow, that's kind of coming back to bite you, and isn't it? It seems like there's a lot of evidence to support that he did give interviews.
Makes you not very credible.
What does he have to say, though?
With us a group of students among America's best. To you, we say, we have only completed a beginning. We leave you much that is undone. there are great ideas undiscovered, breakthroughs available to those who can remove one of truth's protective layers.
What? Okay. So he's giving a speech to these future space astronaut people, and he's telling them, it's like, we're just the beginning. You're the future. We need you to fulfill these things. If you remove one of the truth's layers, a very cryptic way of talking here. But it also could be that he just sucks at public speaking.
He is.
Didn't he have his speech written for him? Maybe?
Even if he did, though, like maybe he just gets really nervous. He's introverted. Maybe that's why he doesn't do public speeches very much. Okay, this is not feeling like a credible piece of information.
That layer. Perhaps someday soon, with the uncovering of this footage and its meaning, the true patriots of America will rise up or come forward and free the citizens and themselves from the sin that so easily entangles and from a federal government that needs to have the gangrene cut off. Even if the government's destruction would come from the truth, then it is not worthy to stand, and its betterment would inevitably follow.
Wow, so she's advocating for the entire destruction of the government because of this. Interesting, okay.
I mean, I agree, but...
Yeah.
All of us are mortal. All of us will die. Perhaps the seeking of a clear conscience before that hour will motivate the truth into the light. Perhaps as citizens, we should offer amnesty for this and other crimes of history, for facts from those involved, before the truth perishes with them. Why must we wait until the year 2017 to open the Kennedy assassination files? Perhaps they will not even be opened then.
Wait, when do they need to be opened by?
Why must we wait until the year 2017?
Why do we have to wait till the year 2000? So this was filmed before 2017. Did the JFK files get released in 2017?
Open the Kennedy assassination files. Perhaps they will not even be opened then, for the law that reluctantly stipulates their release.
Hold on. So, did the JFK files get released in 2017? National Archive begins online release of JFK assassination, 2017. Today at 8 a.m., the National Archive released a group of documents, the first of several expected releases, along with 17 audio files previously withheld in accordance with the JFK assassination. The materials released today are available online only. Access to the original paper records will occur at a future date. Interesting. Okay, so they did. You think that'd be a bigger news, right?
Maybe.
Release says so with this clause. Quote,
hey, how's it going, Miranda?
With the exception of documents certified for continued postponement by the President. Whoever believes the citizens to be too immature for the truth are too immature for power. The truth will always set us free.
The truth will always set us free. Isn't that true? Or enslave you. Actually, if you think about it, truth enslaves you in the end because you become enslaved to truth. You honor God. And through the enslavement to truth, you're set free in all other aspects. It's the slavery to truth, the servitude, the worship of truth that brings you the freedom. Oh, now we're going to do the JFK assassination here? Oh, boy. Okay, so that, my friends, is the, I guess we're ending on murder. Looks like we're going to end on murder here. By the way, there's the guy pulling out the gun, shooting JFK in the head, is what it looks like here. I guess we didn't see that footage before. Let's kind of let it Looks like, though, right? Doesn't that look like a guy reaching over with a gun, pointing it at this person? But that's not the... I don't know. What's going on here? Is this JFK? Is that his wife? What happened to the seat in the back? I thought there were 6 seats. I don't know what's going on anymore. Also, why does this lady look like a man wearing a wig? What's going on right now?
I thought we were talking about the moon landing.
Me too. Oh, there's where he gets killed from the presidential assassination, and that's, you know, could be this guy, could be this. What if the girl did it? Hold on. We just watched the Mandela Effect that said that there was a 6-seater, and it isn't a 6-seater. What is happening? Okay, well, that's the end of that documentary there, boys and girls. So how do we feel in chat? How do we think real, fake, moon landing? What is the consensus in chat? Do we think the moon is real, moon landing real, or is the moon landing a fraud? Let me know in the chat what you guys are thinking. And
Singing Owl in chat.
What is Singing Owl saying?
Singing Owl.
Singing Owl. Welcome, Singing Owl. How are you doing? Welcome. So let us know. What are your thoughts, O-Peeps? Let's hear what you got to say.
I don't know. There's arguments for both.
So far, arguments for both. Okay.
I think it's more fun to say it was fake.
Oh, yeah, for sure. More fun.
Definitely more fun. So I'm going to stick with that then.
Okay.
Because like you said, it doesn't impact my life in any way. So why not say it's fake?
Don, I really am stuck on trying to find this guy's interview because I'm loyal to my owls. I think that's the problem. What does the chat think, though? Let's see. I remember a key line. It was a painful process to put it back together. Trying to find this. So how are we doing over there?
Good.
Don Pennant. Maybe this is it.
Hey, we've had a problem here.
Joshua says there was a special on Fox a few years ago about the moon landing.
Ooh, interesting.
Where
challenges a spacewalk. I know it's this guy because he sounds like he's autistic.
We had a problem on full launch for its launch state, and we were supposed to go out there. It's supposed to be a simple task where we just unfold it so it could be useful. Well, it was stuck. We couldn't get it to unfold. And we actually gave up on that spacewalk. And then we came back on another spacewalk sometime later with a solution.
Interesting. I'm not finding it, man. So one thing that someone sent in that was proof of the moon landing being fake was, and then maybe they're censoring it, you know, is they claim, well, why don't we just Google search that? Maybe we won't need to see the video. Yeah. Did NASA lose all the original footage of the moon landing? So there is a piece of information saying that they lost all of their footage. Why are you kicking?
Because I think we watched this video together and I remember it.
You remember seeing it, right? It's it was like super clear.
It was like something they said in the video. They were like, oh yeah, and they recorded over the moon landing.
They recorded over the moon landing, and I'm trying to find it for them. Like, so this guy comes up, he's from NASA, and he's like, we tried to go to the moon, and we tried to see the stars, and the reason the footage is all bad is because we record over it because we didn't have enough monies. That's literally what he says. Not Unsolved Mystery. The Lost Apollo Tapes 11 with the 50th anniversary. Yeah, I'm trying to find this guy. I know a key one was he said, we lost the technology and it's a painful process to put back together. I remember him literally saying it like that. His name is Don 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 Pennant, if you want to do some aggressive researching and see if maybe you can pull it up. I can't find this thing for the life of me. They are trying to censor us here on the deep web. They are liars. They're frauds. So what does the chat think? Does the chat think the moon's real?
Joshua.
I think space is a lie, personally.
Yeah, space is a lie.
I think all of space is a lie. Singing Owl pops in and then leaves. Oh no, Singing Owl. What a shame.
Joshua says, if it's fake, then it's real.
If it's fake, then it's real.
That's
that is a good satanic inversion right there. Speaking of that, you want to see another person make a bizarre psychotic claim like that? Elon Musk, you can tell it's real. Let's get that quote up in here. This is a blatant lie. So you can tell it's real because it looks so fake. That's Elon Musk direct quote about his SpaceX launching a car to Mars. Wow, maybe that is what he was referencing.
The work that goes into designing, and we are.
All right, let's see it. So this is supposedly SpaceX. Okay. That's supposedly an actual photo. That's supposed to be an actual photo. Come on. He sent a Tesla into space. Didn't we just talk about how there's this massive radiation thing that would just like strip the paint right off?
I don't know, maybe.
Okay. Wait, the clouds on Earth. Is this the quote of Here it is. This is the quote I was looking for.
What was going through your mind? How amazed were you to see your roadster up there with Starman just cruising along with the Blue Planet? And how long will we be getting live views, do you think, from the car?
Well, I think it looks so ridiculous and impossible. And you can tell it's real because it looks so fake.
You can tell it's real because it looks so fake, Elon Musk.
So, what? This footage was live streamed?
I think so. I think he claimed it was live streamed.
How?
Oh, that's another good question. We're getting all these lies. It's all lies. It's all frauds.
How is that possible?
Oh my gosh, I think we're...
Did they live stream from like Mars too? From the Mars
live
rovers?
stream from the Mars rovers? I don't think so. They couldn't be.
No.
Could they? How would that be possible?
have
Interplanetary live streaming, and you can't get a router that goes 15 feet? Absolutely not.
Well, I know they have footage from the Mars rover, but I don't know if they can live stream it or if they have to send it all the way, whatever.
Oh, hey, chat, if any of you guys can pull up
how is that possible?
the Dawn Pennant clip, the quote that I remember a lot was, it is going to be it would be a painful we lost the technology and it would be a painful process to bring it back together. It's that interview. I cannot find it myself. YouTube is censoring that interview because they don't want us to know the truth about space being fake.
Yep.
I'm going to give it one last shot. Dawn Pennant. It is a painful process to... It is a painful process. Let's see if that's it. Space. Fake. Nothing. No interviews with this guy. Dang it, man. They really are blocking this.
Have to find it.
Yeah, that's absurd. Okay, well, let's go ahead and let's take a look at another important contribution to society, which is a clearly superior omelet recipe to that of Josh Weissman. Why don't we check that out?
Now,
and maybe you could do some research while we do this.
I'm trying to do research.
Okay. So let's learn about this wonderful video here, a clearly superior omelet recipe to that of Josh Weissman. And then we're going to hop on over to Neil deGrasse Tyson explaining why all of the stuff that we just watched isn't true. He's going to prove that the moon landing isn't fake.
Yeah. And Alex says, Elon Musk can live stream from Mars, but your show can't stream without a 15-second lag and sometimes malfunction.
That's what I'm saying.
Why do we have a delay?
Oh, man, I'm telling you, it's a lie. It's all a lie.
And Friday. So
let's learn how to make some omelets.
I could be in bed right now, but instead we're making eggs because I have to make you like 7 egg videos between now and Friday.
I made this at like midnight.
Friday.
And Alex put on the stupid light, and it's the worst, and I love every aspect of it.
So here we are. We got non-stick frying pan here.
By the way, I criticized having a frying pan in the previous video. In this video, I'm using a frying pan.
Fat, you can go with butter, which is the correct choice, or you can be a dummy and you can go with olive oil. That's the wrong choice.
By the way, olive oil is a fantastic oil for using. I don't know why I'm crapping on it other than that it's late.
Doing it where it is the right choice, in which case it is the right choice. Try and reason around that. You'll need a bowl. Unfortunately, OPB's threw all of our bowls.
Joshua claims to have found the clip.
Really?
Send it on over in the Discord, sir.
I found one from a Reddit post,
Ooh.
but when I clicked on the video, it says this YouTube channel, the whole account is no longer on YouTube.
Oh!
So
they shut down the channel for having the clip!
Shut down the whole channel.
To the ceiling like a chimpanzee, and they're now stuck inside the ceiling. So we're using some little glass thingy here. You'll need some eggs. They should be your own.
We will set aside the egg video here. If we got a clip coming in from Joshua, let us know. We need to set aside egg time for this.
I found a clip too.
Chickens, if they're not,
send it over
you're a
in the
bad
Discord.
person.
Can you
and should
review
be
it
sad.
and see like if it
That being said, we're sad, and we bought local eggs. And finally, we have salt and pepper, plus a little trick I'm going to bring out right now.
Oh, there it is.
So
this is
thing.
the interview.
Flavor is all a scam. You can replicate almost every single type of food flavor.
Okay, boys and girls, so that's how we're to make an omelet. If you guys are interested in continuing this omelet endeavor, you should come over to my channel, a clearly superior omelet recipe to that of Josh Weissman's. Give that the thumb up and the starter view. And of course, my mouse has disappeared. The NSA is trying to censor the ability for me to show you guys this clip. They don't want this info to get out. You know, honestly, this all seemed like I was about 30% moon landing. I started at 45% moon landing fake. After watching that documentary, I'm at like a 30, maybe 25% chance that it's fake. This censorship of this clip has now boosted me to a 60%. 60%, because why are you censoring an interview with a NASA astronaut? Why?
I'd go to the moon.
Here it is.
Only if you have something to hide.
Oh, do you have the full video of this one? Because is there any way to get to it? So this is one interview. Let's see here.
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore.
We don't have the technology to do that anymore, to go to the moon he says he would go to the moon in a nanosecond, but we don't have the technology to do that anymore. How? When has a phone ever gone backwards? When did we have a car that went backwards? When has there ever been an instance where technology went backwards? I don't know. I guess the bronze, like when there was the dark ages, but even then the technology was pretty consistent, wasn't it?
In a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.
Why did you
I'd go to
destroy the
moon
technology?
in a nanosecond?
That's a historical record. Are you kidding me? So you're telling me that NASA goes and drops $6 billion. $60 billion. My apologies. Takes 20 pictures. 20 pictures. Destroys all the original footage. Gives out petrified pieces of wood to people instead of moon rocks. And then destroys all the artifacts. This prized material that you would put on display for all of human history. And we're supposed to believe this? To top it all off, they live stream from the moon in the 60s. I don't know, people. This is all sounding pretty unbelievable to me. Maybe Mr. Negrassi Tyson here can give us some more insights. Shall we? How are you doing? What are you doing over there?
I'm trying to find the full video.
Okay. So OPBs is still trying to do some research on the video, so let's continue with the egg video before we hop into Neil deGrasse. Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sherlock Owl says she loves the light.
Eggs. And finally, we have salt and pepper plus a little trick I'm going to bring out right now. So here's the thing. Flavor is all a scam. You can
Flavor
replicate
is all a scam. It makes no sense.
almost every single type of food flavor with just 3 pairings of any particular flavors.
This is actually true. You can simulate virtually every cuisine on the planet with just 3 flavor combos. It's pretty insane.
Across the world. For example, you want to make an omelet, which is the perfect palette because it has very little flavor itself. It's just a protein. You can flavor.
This is honestly such valuable information for people because if you're ever in a bind financially and you're like, man, I got to choose between eating healthy or do I not save money and eat unhealthy? When you learn how powerful eggs are and what we're teaching you here, this is the cheapest ingredients, one of the cheapest ingredients you can pick up, and you can make this stuff go for long, long ways. And an omelet is such a universal tool that you can just, whatever you got some extra leftover meat, you got some veggies, just some cheap veggies. You can put potatoes in these things. You can do so much with an omelet. It's crazy.
Flavor it to be any style of dish. For example, let's say we want Mexican. You go, boom, chili powder, lime, and throw in a green onion. Throw that in, boom, Mexican. Oh, but maybe you're feeling like a Asian style dish. Okay, well, all you gotta do is take rid of your chili pepper, swap in some soy sauce here, and throw in ginger for the lime. These are completely different flavor palettes. So you'll be able to have a Mexican and an Asian one with these 3. And you can do this for all cultures. So just look up the most popular dish. When you think of Italian food, what do you think of? Basil, mozzarella, tomato. So what would you do? Basil, mozzarella, tomato. You're gonna have an Italian style dish just by doing these things. Today we're learning how to make the omelet. The omelet is the universal food of eggs because with one omelet that I'm going to teach you, you'll be able to make basically every single culture's flavors. All right.
And this is a really cool point as well. It's using this omelet and this flavor strategy I'm telling you right now. You can literally, because of the neutral flavor of the eggs, recreate a whole host of flavors from the eggs. So by seasoning them with these various things, you can have Italian, Mexican, French, Japanese, Chinese. It's insane.
So you're going to need 3 eggs for an omelet. Some people that are stupid start with names that start like Josh Weissman.
My
will tell you to
hatred
use
of
4
Josh
eggs.
Weissman.
They're fools. Use 3 eggs. 3 eggs is a Tesla number. That makes it better. And there's other idiots on the internet. Their names rhyme with Josh Weissman. Oh, wait. That's not rhyming. I messed that up. Anyway, that'll tell you, you got to learn how to do this.
I love the fact that my character is absolutely infuriated with Josh Weissman so much.
And break them on the tables. You don't need to learn how to do that at all. And yeah, I could do it that way. That's the wrong way to do it. You definitely want to go and crack on the side, because it's not going to get them in there for you. It's going to allow you to do a better opening and control. Oh no, it broke in my hands. So if you don't know how to do the table technique, you can still do it that way and just hold it with your hands. It's fine, and you're not going to...
Oh, wow, this video needs some editing. I don't like it. We're going to speed this guy up. This guy's way too long-winded. The last one we did much better.
Is everything going to explode? Don't put the...
All right, let's see. Let's get to the whisking. Nothing. We're good.
Do it with a fork, and you just do this until it turns into a nice velvety custard texture here. So we're gonna set those aside here, and we're gonna get our seasonings ready. Use the knife that your woman got you as a gift. All right, so you want to
use the knife that your woman got you as a gift.
Grab your lime. This works with lemons as well. Anything that you want to juice.
Oh, this is a hack that's going to blow your mind, people. Once you know this about citrus, I'm going to change your life with lemons and limes right now. Check this out.
Just put it down on the table. Make sure that you got the sticker off here, and just roll it with your palm.
Give it a roll.
Real
just
good.
Give it a roll.
Nice
get that pressure in the real
pressure
good.
as it gives. And this is going to make it way easier to juice, and you're going to get way more juice from your lime.
It like triples your juice output of your limes and lemons by rolling it before you chop a room.
And when you do it this way, I bet you didn't learn that from Mr. Josh Weissman. Nope. Just around these parts. Now it's nice and squishy, and you're just going to go and slice it right down the middle. Boom. And of course, we're going to do some scallions here, and you just chop off the butts. And, you know, they always talk about how you got to do these the right way. You don't. You just want to...
They always talk about how you have to do these things the right way. You don't.
Use proper knife technique. You can go like this. That's fine. If you want to do it that way and make sure you don't chop your fingers off, sure, go ahead. It's not that big a deal. Or you can just hold it like this and make sure you got plenty of room. Take your time. You're not a restaurant worker. You don't have to take any rush here.
I like how I just subtly flex. Oh, by the way, I can do this quickly, but I don't have to. It's so ridiculous. This character is amazing.
Just don't chop your fingers off. It can go slow. It doesn't matter. You don't have to use perfect knife technique unless you're in a restaurant. So just take it nice, slow, have some fun with it. And some people say that you need to cut off the tops of the greens or not use the whites. They're all liars. It never affects the flavor in any way. No one will ever notice the difference. Don't be wasteful. I call those kinds of people wasteful. Now let me prep our chili pepper. Oh, wow, that was easy, wasn't it? Finally, your omelet is going to be the protein, but sometimes you want to up the protein. So you can add meats, you can do sliced meat.
Just this plastic wrapped face. Just plastic wrapped dried meat. It's like, how is this ever going to turn into anything good?
You can do cooked meats, you can put bacon, you can put chicken, you can also put cheeses, and this is basically just accentuating the fat and the protein
so
there.
We've given up on
Finally,
the adventure.
we're making a Mexican omelet.
So we're going to fast forward here, boys and girls, to the final product. If you want to see this happen here, we'll get you to the final steps of this.
Keep the other half. That's going to go on top. Half of our lime. Remember, acid on fat, always going to be good.
Final product. Look at what you could be.
There.
Look at this. This train wreck ends up into the perfect Mexican omelet.
You've got your perfect omelet. You can swap out the flavors, turning it into whatever you want. Check this out. Nice, perfect texture. Very fluffy. Holding all those ingredients and flavors in. Very good stuff. And that's it, guys.
Makes me want an omelet right now. All right. So that is, and you can see I'm still completely traumatized from the Wednesday night fog machine episode there. So very good stuff there. And thank you guys for enjoying that. Now let's see what Neil deGrasse Tyson has to say about the moon landing being legit.
Sentence quote.
What was it?
I'll find it here for you.
The quote.
All right, here we go. Now keep in mind, back in the day, Joe Rogan was this guy that was a He was one of the biggest podcasters of all time. Nowadays, he's mostly known as a sellout who's lost his entire audience and, just sold his old studio and has a really crappy one that no one likes anymore. And, not getting any viewership, and his audience didn't follow him because they weren't loyal to him because he had become such a sellout. And so that's what he's known for today. But back in the day, he actually was a successful podcaster and had a podcast that was slightly bigger than ours now. Obviously ours being significantly bigger than his is today. That being said, he believed that the moon landing was fake as well. And so he brought Neil deGrasse Tyson on here, a alleged scientist, to explain his side of the story on why he believes the moon landing is not fake.
I don't understand what's going on in those minds.
It's the same sort of thinking
So it starts off by calling people who think the moon landing is fake crazy. Keep in mind, Joe Rogan believes the moon landing is fake.
Wants to uncover mysteries and conspiracies. It's a weird excitement to like hidden things.
Now, you were a moon guy for a while, right? Is that
Yeah,
right?
well,
He calls him a moon guy. So we're starting off with Slant said Elon Musk will never get to Mars. All right, so that is the end of the debate, boys and girls. And that was a great way to recap it as well, I think, to end with that little disclaimer there. So how are we doing? Pretty intense, pretty fun? Are we feeling like we're moon deniers now? Are we moon believers? What's the general vibe of the chat?
The chat will have to say, me personally, I will stick to being a moon denier.
Moon denier.
Just based on the fact that it's more fun and...
I like the plasma theory purely because I really like the confidence in which the guy states his theory about it, and he just seems so... He's like, look, now, this is not a theory. I have mathematical proof that says that it is actually plasma, and all of our theories are incorrect. I loved that guy because it's just so ridiculous. It's so absurd, and I find it really fun.
And it's fun.
Yeah.
Believe what you think is fun.
Yeah, if it doesn't affect your life in any way, just believe what's fun. Yeah. And, also what I'll do is it's like, well, this doesn't matter. Okay, wow, let's pretend what yours is true. And then you can ask questions, and then they start losing their mind because you find out, oh, they don't actually know what they're talking about. They are believing rhetoric and sophistry. And so if you start asking questions, which is the Socratic approach, you can start to reveal the truth to people and saying, oh, wow, we went to the moon. I never heard of that. That's interesting. And that's a Socratic approach, is feigning ignorance. And I'm a big fan of that approach. I use that all the time. It's, oh, wow, really? How did they do that?
So Alex says, the moon is real, but we didn't land on it.
Interesting. Okay, so we got a support of the moon's existence for sure.
Yes.
But not a belief in the landing on it. Okay.
Of the visitation.
I can see that. For sure.
I can see that. That's a good theory too.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously, when I say, I think when OPVs is saying it's not real, she's not saying it doesn't even exist. I think obviously we can look up in the sky and say, oh, there's something there that we call the moon. Yeah. So that's got to be, obviously that's a thing. And the question is, what is it? Is it plasma? Is it a light? Is God just got some flashlights? He's just sticking it right on, and he's who knows? We don't know.
Maybe.
What if it's? We have no idea.
Projection. We've seen it loading.
Ball of cheese.
Maybe the entire
we saw it
sky
loading. That's true. We should bring up the moon loading. That was crazy. But it got censored. We'll see if we can find it. Moon loading glitch.
Am I a sky denier now?
A sky denier.
Maybe the whole sky is fake.
Oh, I can't find it. They blocked it. Maybe I can pull it up through the good old. Let's get the OWL censorship up here in case anything pops up. Maybe the Googles can provide.
Maddie has a good point. He says, if we were able to believe the scientific evidence presented to us, we could have better judgments.
What was that? I didn't follow.
Maddie said, if we were able to believe the scientific evidence presented to us, we could have better judgments.
If we were able to believe this...
If we could believe what the scientists were telling us, then we would be able to better judge.
Because the scientists are liars. Yes. Yeah, exactly. 52%.
If we were able to believe what the news was saying, we would be able to judge better.
Well, also just we have scientists that actually do stuff. It's called engineering. No, it's called engineering. There are real scientists, and they're called engineers. These people who claim that they're scientists aren't.
But he's not saying engineers.
No, I know. I'm saying we have evidence.
If I would call those scientists.
They're real science. They're much closer to what real scientists are.
Should be.
What?
What real scientists should be?
Yeah, exactly. Well, they're operating in the real world. So yeah, it looks like I'm pulling up an article here. It says all of the moon glitch videos got deleted from YouTube.
Whoa.
Moon loading conspiracy video Reddit YouTube. Let's see if that pulls it up. Maybe they can get us a deep link. This freaking moon land. YouTube just shut down this freaking moon landing conspiracy video with a link. Oh my gosh. This is bizarre. Okay. Yeah, it's gone. You guys all witnessed it here live on the show. Maybe we can go through the archives, but they have censored that and they've deleted it. It could be. Yeah, so they've censored the video, guys. It doesn't YouTube doesn't have it anymore. So weird. Very weird. But yeah, I mean, so you can trust an engineer because engineers build stuff and you can see it work. You watch cars. You hold phones in your hand. Yeah. Science isn't responsible for your phone. Science isn't responsible for your car. Science isn't responsible for all these technological breakthroughs, these headphones, these microphones. You know that you always hear them lie and say, "Why don't you trust us? Why don't you believe you believe your laptop would work?" Because I believe in engineers. Scientists weren't involved with that. That's not what science does at all. And that's important to note. I trust engineers a lot more than scientists, for sure. Because they produce things that actually happen, that actually exist. Mm-hmm. And I still would hold them to the same level of scrutiny. But, when you talk to an engineer, and I have, they follow a dialectic process. They're trained to follow a dialectic process. They'll be like, actually, error in your logic chain. Here is the error in the logic chain. You're assuming that the vibrations of the Earth don't affect the flag. Could we not account for that? We could actually measure that. He's 90 pounds. He's jumping on the moon. We can calculate the vibrational force. This would move the flag. Therefore, there's an explanation for the flag moving. Thank you, engineer. That's how they would approach it, a dialectic approach. What Neil deGrasse Tyson does is goes, okay, so what you're saying is all of this entire thing is fake, or maybe something brushed the flag. Okay, whatever. And he's claiming to be a scientist.
Science communicator.
And astrophysicist, also known as active imaginer. It's insane. All right, well, is there anything else that we need to address in chat? Are we doing good? Are we having a fun time?
I think we're good.
All right. Sounds good. Well, thank you guys for tuning in for the moon landing special here. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Now let's end with a song about going insane because we have gone off the deep end and we're now moon deniers. But again, guys, of course, this is designed. This is for fun, entertainment purposes only. This is to demonstrate how effective sophistry and rhetoric can be. I am an actor playing a character, and I am doing a magic trick right now to demonstrate how effective these techniques can be. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for having some fun and exploring these philosophical ideas. And we'll be here again tomorrow, same place, same time, Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific Coast time. Woo! That was fun. That was a good one. Did you have a good time?
Oh, yeah.
I see you yawning, so that seems like you're absolutely livid. Not having fun. Is that the case, OPVs?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not.
All right. Well, I'm going to put your muzzle back on.
Okay. Good night, guys.
Good night. All right. We've got that off here. And then we're going to go ahead and pop up this. Let's get a song about this one sticks in my heart because of a certain bear that lives in the land of potatoes who tells great jokes, a fun comedian of sorts, who now sips tea with very interesting fellas. who decided to sing this for 3 months straight. Let's go ahead and play the song, shall we? I'm just going to go ahead and here just skip that ad. All right, everybody. Good night. Thank you for joining us. Having a great show. You're all amazing. You're all beautiful. You're all wonderful. We'll be here all week. You're the best there is. You're the best of the best. You're the reason we show up here every night. You're the reason we donate 5 hours to our community every day. You are wonderful, and you deserve every minute of it.
I remember when I lost my mind. There was something so pleasant about that place. Even your emotions had an echo in so much space. And when you're out there without care, yeah, I was out of touch. But it wasn't because I didn't know enough. Just knew too much. Does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy? Possibly. And I hope that you are having the time of your life. Not think twice. It's my only advice. Come on now, who do you think you are? Ha ha ha, bless your soul. Really think that you're in control? Well, I think you're crazy, and I think you're crazy, and I think you're crazy, just like me. My heroes had the heart to lose their lives out on a limb. And all I remember is thinking, I wanna be like them. Ever since I was little, it looked like fun. But it's no coincidence I've come. And I can die when I'm done. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe you're crazy. Maybe we're crazy. Probably. Just like me. Just like me. Just like